Rolo, hit that shit.
This stuff will make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus. Just like me. This stuff will make you a god.
Got it. Go.
Is it me?
There it is.
There we go, guys. So we did it. Hey, listen, it's getting progressively better every fucking week.
Time.
Everybody's excited. All right, let's straighten this out. All right, guys, welcome to Access Vegas. We're working on our audio. We're making this whole thing work, and we appreciate you guys, your patience, and joining us every week. We love this new studio. As you can see, the Las Vegas Strip is right behind us. The I-15 is right behind us.
$1 million view.
Yes, and we got a lot of great podcasts coming your way. So please stay tuned for all this stuff. Make sure you check out the Access Vegas channel. Make sure you check out Rolo on Rumble. Make sure you check out me on YouTube, and make sure you check out all these wonderful ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, before we get started, real quick, if you want to super chat on this show, the only way you can do that is on the Rumble channel because you're demonetized.
I'm demonetized.
I'm demonetized.
Yes.
We're all demonetized except for on Rumble. So you can go and get us on Rumble.
You guys know why I'm demonetized, right? Neither do I. Nobody can fucking figure it out. So that's what's going on there. If somebody wants to tell me why I'm demonetized, please let me know. All right, so we're going to go ahead and introduce our guests. First over here, far over to my left, he's from Vista, California. He's the co-founder of Ether Natural Botanicals. It's Alexander Karp. How you doing, Alexander?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Brother. Nice. Welcome to the show. She's from St. Louis. She's an entertainer, a webcam model. It is Leah. How you doing, Leah?
Hey, y'all.
Terrific, man. That's right. Okay, awesome. And then he is somewhere. He lives somewhere in the United States. He's a sex coach for men. It is Mr. Sterling Cooper. How you doing, Sterling? Good. Incredible to have Sterling here.
Coaching. Yes.
She's from Calgary. She's a square. She has a master's degree, and she's an assurance adjuster. It's Katie Moore. Welcome to the show, Katie Moore. Welcome back all the way from Calgary. Incredible. She is from Los Angeles. She's a podcaster, an adult entertainer, and dancer. It is Onyx Muse. There she is. All right. And for the first time, we've never had her on here before. She's an internet snob from Miami. It is Tiffany Fox. I don't recognize her either. That's absolutely right. We were confused as shit when I saw her on the flyer.
She's come out of her chrysalis.
For sure. That's right. See, TradCon no more. TradCon no more. All right, here we go. She's an adult entertainer. She's a poker player from Utah. It is Elena. Elena, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good to have you here. And finally, he is a pro skateboarder from San Diego. It is Mr. Danny Way. How you doing, Danny? Good. Awesome. Danny, just grab the microphone if you want to say anything.
I'm doing great.
Okay, awesome, man. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We've got your Element 115. What is that, guys? You want to explain what that is?
Yeah. It's a botanical called kratom.
Okay.
So kratom is used either for people that want to replace coffee, kind of energy, mood boost.
Yeah.
I use it for physical pain, severe physical pain, degenerating disc, my lower back. And other people use it for substance use disorders.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that before. I've heard of kratom before. And you guys also sell do you sell ashwagandha or tonkat ali or something like that?
We do sell also kava and tonkat ali.
Okay.
But those are the three main botanicals so far.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, for those of you who haven't seen, that's what Andrew Huberman, when he's talking about natural ways of supplementing your testosterone, those are some of the ways that you can do it. Some of you guys don't want to get into TRT. I totally understand. You want to wait a little while. You might want to try some of those natural herbs. And then after a while, just start shooting that shit in your butt because it's fucking great. It's fucking great. You're going to be 46 dating a 22-year-old and have people talk shit about you on the YouTube. It's going to be fucking great. You have any announcements? I want to say something real quick. Yeah. Marquis just hit me up. There is going to be a bikini competition in August. If you guys are interested, it's going to be a $5,000 bikini competition. I will give you the details for that. Here coming up pretty soon. We also have Las Vegas Swim Week. On the 13th, Black Tape Project is going to be doing a casting for any ladies who are interested in doing black tape. On the 14th is going to be the Nothing But Heels party. If you guys are interested in doing the Nothing But Heels party, it's about 70 girls. They don't wear anything. It's an just art heels. Installation. They're just wearing heels.
Welcome to Vegas.
I think there's tickets only for 10 guys to come to this. It's very, very, very exclusive. It's going to be at a location we just found out today at a mansion. On the 15th, it's going to be Babes in Toyland FHM party, which also Black Tape Project is going to be there, and we're going to be supporting the Foster Friday Foundation Animal Rescue. On the 16th is going to be Peppermint Hippo. Black Tape Project is going to be doing something there. And then on the 17th is going to be an activation for Miami or Las Vegas Swim Week. And then the 18th most likely is going to be the $5,000 bikini competition at Marquee. So if you guys want to come in town for that week, it's going to be awesome. Yeah. This Monday or this Sunday, coming up is Vegas Immersion. I'm excited. It's also our offsite. So all my entire team is going to come down here and we're going to play basketball and eat fucking barbecue. So any of you guys who are ever interested in coming to a Vegas Immersion, please let me know. Yes. It's an on-site thing and we make you go approach 50 people every day until you're sick. Yeah.
Speaking of which, myself and I see Joe Marins in the back here. We have our new program called Reignite, which is partnered with MOA right now. It's for guys who are 45 to 65 years old. And we're focusing particularly on that demographic because those are the guys who are like at the highest risk for self-deletion. Also, they tend to be the guys who are getting out of divorces, which of course makes them about 8 times more likely for self-deletion. So we're catering to that demographic a little bit more, just so we can be a little more comprehensive with MOA right now. Also, before we get started, I want to give a big round of applause to all of our producers and everybody who's been helping us out for this entire show, man.
Takes an army of millions.
Yes, we have Travis. Travis, actually, producer Travis is behind the border tonight, and then we've got Ricky, who is let's see, one quarter of my band, and then I've got Jake in the back there, who's the other quarter of my band. So like I've got a new band going on right now, and I've basically put them all to work today. So so this is great. Yeah. So let's get started.
Beautiful. Let's get started, man. You have the first video up. Let's do them in order.
You just want to do them in order?
Let's do it.
Okay. Which one do you want? That one. Oh, geez. Okay, here we go.
All right, everybody pay attention to the screen up here.
Oh, geez. Oh, here, I got it right here. It's all right. I got it.
Created a generation of narcissistic women. And what's happened is the rise of social media and the rise of online dating and the rise of feminism has taught women that they are not to blame for any poor choices. Every poor choice is glamorized. So if you want to be a sex worker, it's great. If you want to post in bikini pictures online, it's fine. If you want to be with it, every poor choice is glamorized. And every internal reflection is seen as gaslighting yourself. So they've even got terms for internal reflection to prevent it happening. And so what will happen is they are trained to not reflect on themselves because we've been told we've been oppressed for so many years. Now it's time to make sure we project. And so we don't take any accountability. And as a result, when we get into relationships, if we don't feel completely soothed all the time, he must be a narcissist. He must be a manipulator. He must be gaslighting. He, rather than I. And unfortunately, we've got an online market that caters to that wounded woman, that caters to that entitled woman, and caters to that narcissistic woman. And it's so wild to me that so many women talk about narcissism, but the society today is just catering to narcissistic women.
But it's not all narcissism, and women are not all feminists, especially sex workers.
Okay, so there's being a narcissist and then there's having narcissistic tendencies, right? And we all have narcissistic tendencies because nobody gives a fuck about you more than you.
Right.
So like you're obviously going to always be looking out for yourself no matter how much you care about somebody else. You're always going to put yourself first if you're a reasonable person, I think, personally.
Go.
I feel like women
Merge.
shouldn't have to dim their light and like shelter themselves, like to be able to feel free, you know? So like nowadays, everybody wants like, you know, a typical housewife or whatever. I feel like you should be able to live in like your true form self, you know? So as far as like narcissistic women or whatever, I just feel like, I don't know. I can't come up with the words right now.
Because it's like we're creating boundaries and we're not putting up with
right. Like we shouldn't have to dim our light.
Bare minimum.
And then like men, they can definitely be narcissistic just because like they have their ego. So like for women, I feel like it's not payback, but like it's our time now. Like right. You know, we have Kamala Harris about to be. You know,
our first put it in the chat if you guys are excited for the first female president. Are you guys excited for that? We will change. What is it? What is her slogan? It's like now, forever, and whatever the fuck she said. Did anybody see that video of Kamala Harris at the P. Diddy party with Montel
Wait.
Jordan? Anybody see that video? That's fucking hilarious.
But
Our
here's-
first female president, guys. I'm super
I'm not
excited.
for
Don't
it. I'm not for it.
No, I
The
think
new
that.
foods, like
Keep
going,
going.
like she's at the age where her tubes are drying out, obviously.
Who
So
was
it's
that
like, so it's like
Kamala?
menopause. No,
Yeah,
Kamala,
that too.
Can you imagine having all the nuclear codes and you're having hot flashes like it's in the news?
Maybe.
I'm
What
excited for her.
do you think about what Sadia Khan said? I'm just curious.
No. So her concept. Okay, so a lot of sex workers like we know what we're getting into. Like when I got out of
I
it,
don't believe a lot of girls know what they're getting into.
I
think
mean,
you did.
you know what though, the thing is, it's like if you want to get in something, if you're reasonable, you should look in what you're getting into before you sign up. Because when you're in it, it's like you're in it, and
You can't half-ass it.
You accept it for what it is. You know what
Yeah,
it is.
but most content creators on OnlyFans right now are making $20 a week. So like most of them didn't do
It's-
any of that.
It's not just OnlyFans, and you have to understand that you also hustle on multiple
For sure.
sites at the same time.
Okay.
So all the income isn't just coming
Sure.
through.
Anybody else?
I kind of agree with her statement that all this sex work is over glamorized, and
It's funny. I just had Orion Taraban on, and he was talking about this. The idea that Schopenhauer said one time. He goes that it is the brothel that protects the chastity of the fine lady. It's kind of a weird way to look at it, right? It's almost like the wave upon which it breaks. Now, whether or not you guys want to say sex work is a good idea or a bad idea, that's her opinion. I probably wouldn't want my daughter doing it. I probably wouldn't want my girlfriend doing it, but it's fine. Like, obviously, I don't judge any of you guys. You guys are my friends. I don't give a shit about that. But the problem, the thing, though, that she did say that I do agree with is that women making mistakes, they are not held accountable. And I absolutely believe that this is true. I believe that there is, in general, there's this feeling online where it's just like, you do whatever you want, regardless of whether or not sex work or not. Cardi B robbing a motherfucker, drugging him, and then stealing from him is glorified. That's the issue that I'm talking about. Like when you go out there, you see the videos where they pop the balloon for these men, and then they end up later on 40 years old, and they can't find anyone to commit to them. One really, really great thing, if you guys want to check out my interview with Orion Taraban that I did, came out this last Wednesday, he said that a man's sexual market value cannot be lower than whatever woman is willing to commit to him long term. Sounds fair. A woman's sexual market value, though, is defined by whatever man is willing to commit to her long term. And it doesn't make any difference. Your market value is never determined by you. The S&P 500 does not dictate its own market value, nor does the price of Amazon stock. The market tells you what your price is. And so because of that, what happens often is you'll have a woman and she will receive tons of attention because of her physical attractiveness. And from that, think, my sexual market value is a 10 because I got messages from Michael B. Jordan and Tyga on Instagram. Therefore, I'm a 10. But can she get any one of these men to commit to her? And you ask her and she's like, no, but I've been engaged 5 times. Like, no, that's not being engaged 5 times is not a flex. I've said this before. That's the issue. It is the highest status man you can get to commit to you long term. And I hear a lot of women just fooling themselves thinking that that's what's going on. And in that, I do agree with the concept that what she says before. It's like you're being glamorized for sometimes when you make bad decisions. When men make bad decisions, when we're poor or broke or fat, we're told so, and we just fucking go to the gym. We do something about it. We rarely complain about it. We're told frequently that we can't bench press enough, that we don't have enough money, or that we're too short, or whatever the thing is. And men, we just, like, you don't see us bitching in the comments. We just go to the gym. We go try to fix the problem. What do you think?
I
man?
would say the
Go ahead.
female thing is like everybody says to Lizzo, they're like, "Oh, you're so brave,"
Yeah.
but if you tell somebody that they look
Well,
like Lizzo,
so-
they get offended.
Yeah. So, for instance, there's one video.
Yeah.
There's one video where they ask a bunch of women, "Do you think Lizzo's pretty?" All the women say she's beautiful, and then they tell the last woman, "Hey, did you know you look like Lizzo?" And she punches him. It's like, she punches him. Well, no, but what are we doing? Well, hold on, what are we doing though? We're glorifying Lizzo's bad decision to not to have a caloric deficit, to have a caloric excess, to become overweight, and then to glorify that. That's the problem. We're not holding her accountable like we hold men accountable. That's the problem. If you're a man and you have a 9-to-5 job, you are held accountable every single day. If you're a beautiful woman, sometimes you are, sometimes you're not. And that's the issue. And so we're glorifying in cases, what Sadia Khan is saying specifically is that, well, by the way, I would say the same thing about an athlete, an actor, a celebrity, or a very, very good looking man. I would say the same thing. We glorify his bad mistakes as well. But for the most part, I agree with what she's saying is that we are we do not hold women accountable whenever they make really bad decisions. Okay. Now the part about sex work, if you want to say that's a bad decision, that's up to you. I know a bunch of girls who do sex work and they're very fucking happy with it. They don't want a man. They never want to get married, and they're totally fine with the situation they're in. What did you say?
Well, I was going to say we tend to overdiagnose narcissism. That's another thing.
Oh, yeah,
it's
of
like
course.
that's the first thing out of anyone's mouth is like, oh, we broke up. He's a narcissist, right? Like, he wasn't a narcissist when you met him.
It's magical that all of a sudden he turns into a narcissist after she stops fucking him.
Right, exactly. Well,
Like,
I mean,
before that, he was like, guys always turn into losers after the relationship is over.
Yeah.
He was never a loser when she was sucking his dick
guys
before
like,
that.
Oh, but you know, girls are always psychopaths after the man's
I was
already
just about
triggered
to
her
say,
and brought
I
her
was
past
just- I
her.
was just
her
like,
she's
she's a crazy bitch.
We definitely demonize. Like we throw these words around it because we don't know what they mean. Like I would say the antisocial personality disorder, which would be a psychopath, is about 3% of the population, and a narcissist is about 4.5% of the population. Borderline personality disorder is about 5.5% of the population, but borderline and narcissist combined, so about 40% of people with borderline are also narcissists. So 100% of people with antisocial personality disorder they have NPD. If you have ASPD or antisocial personality disorder, you also have NPD 100% of the time.
well, then when you listen to like Sadia Khan, it's like she makes it sound like it's endemic. Like this is like it's this plague of narcissism as
but she's
spreading across the U.S.
I like her, and she has a sexy accent, so anything she
Well, I
says,
think
I'll
that's-
just agree
that's
with that.
very
She's not a real psychologist.
I think though why people say there's no people taking accountability is because they taking out consequence out of like school and families. That's why people don't take accountability.
Now, here's the thing. Part of it is like there's no accountability because there doesn't need to be. We're so far away from a survival scenario. You guys can do whatever you want. Like the part that always bothers me is when I go on some of these shows and the guys act like there's any chance we're getting rid of porn. We're getting rid of OnlyFans. We're getting rid of birth control. We're never getting rid of it. I'm not even concerned with that. But my whole thing is what I want because of the people who come on the show, and I love you guys, is that I would like everyone to have their eyes open and say, hey, what is the likelihood if I keep down this path that I'm going to get what I want in the future? If all you care about is the bag, then maybe this is the right path for you. Do what my girl Tucci Cash, what does she do? She makes a fuck ton of money and she buys a bunch of rental properties and she owns half the fucking Airbnbs on the west side of the city, right? She owns a bunch of property. She's decided that the bag is worth more to her. Good for her. That's her. My homegirl Nora Ford, same thing. She's trying to make that bag. My friend Nicolette Shea, trying to make that bag. That's the decision that they made. Yeah, exactly. Super
happy,
fun.
healthy, wealthy.
Right. But if you go into that and say, hey, I want this, but at the same time, it's like I want to have sex on camera, but at the same time, I want a man who's totally fine with that. That's going to limit. I'm not saying you can't find anyone. There's so many dudes out there. What I am going to say, though, it will limit the men that are going to want to commit to you long term. This is something, if you listen to Riley Reid, is that her name? Mm-hmm. She was talking about when she would do scenes, she would say, I would do scenes and come home and my boyfriend wouldn't even want to kiss me. And I'm like, who the fuck is that weird? Like, of course she didn't want to kiss you. What the fuck you thought? Really? You thought that was strange?
How does his dick taste?
Or the other one when I was listening to Alexis Fox when she came on here, and then also listening to I forgot Lena Rhodes, and they would go off and they would have these conversations where it's like, I'm dating a guy, and then he's dating his favorite porn star. I'm dating him for long-term commitment, but he's dating his favorite porn star, and that makes me mad, and I don't know why. It's like, of course, that's what happens. Just recognize what's going on. I used to want to work for the NBA as an announcer. That's not going to happen anymore because of my fucking show. There's consequences to be paid for everything that you do. Go ahead.
To be fair, Riley Reid is now married and very happily in a relationship.
Because she also stopped filming.
It's not, but that for her choice.
Correct.
And she actually has a really good OnlyFans management company now.
Yes.
So there is some positivity.
But Riley Reid is also not like totally dunking on porn like Mia Khalifa and Jessa Rhodes are. Mia Khalifa, who did porn and then wants porn to be illegal while producing porn on an OnlyFans and having a podcast where her name on the podcast is her name on the podcast is
her porn name.
Her name on the podcast is Mia Khalifa. How about that?
She needs to stop using her
Yeah.
name. If it's so bad.
Let's clickbait.
Right.
I was gonna say is like I was having a conversation recently about like the whole thing about like I think it was because of something like one of your clips recently where you're like saying I think we should get rid of porn or everybody's piling on Candace Owens talking about like how we should all get rid of porn. I'm like let's think this through. Like what does a world without like pornography look like? Every technology that human beings have ever come up with, all the way back to like Greco-Roman sculpture, have been used to stroke off, man. That's what those are. Aristocratic people paint.
Right.
Like we always like. Okay,
I've never said that.
No, think about it. This like every visual media art form has been used for one thing: getting off. That's what it would pretty much. Well, we like. Okay, so I'm gonna channel my inner bachelor's of fine arts here because I took a lot of art history to get this degree, right? We always study masters like Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci and all these like big names, right? There were like hundreds and hundreds of other like no-name artists you'll never hear of. And you know what they were painting? The porn of the time, so that aristocratic and noble houses could have that, so they would have put it up on their walls. There's a reason why the Madonna and the baby Jesus, the reason why that tit's hanging out there is because that's what they were into. And so if you go and you look at all of these from sculptures to photography, every new technology that can be applied to porn will be applied to porn.
Not just that, but porn like dictated what technology we used.
Yes.
So, like the reason we used VHS was because of porn.
Yes.
It beat
Right.
The reason we used DVDs because of porn.
Accurate. Photography. If you look at the earliest photography, like where the big old flash, they're shooting like bush shots, man. That's what they were doing.
That's a technical term for them. Bush
whatever.
Shots.
Yeah. I mean, that's what.
They get rid of drugs before they get rid of porn. Like,
yeah.
No, but even if you go back to like ancient Greece, like they're where
they might have been gay, but they were still using for
well, they're having orgies and stuff.
Exactly.
Like everything's based around sex.
Human.
Mm-hmm.
So my whole thing is the idea, like anybody's watching this, we're not going back to the left. Like you need to deal with the world the way that it is now. You can still have your values and raise your children with those values, but I want you to think of all the freedoms that would have to be taken away by human beings in order to get rid of pornography in the United States of America, where we have the First Amendment. Like do you understand what I'm saying? It would be so, again, if we woke up tomorrow and it was gone, would I fight to bring it back? Maybe not.
Are you gonna ban dildos?
Huh? Exactly. That's my point. That's my point. It's like, at what point are you
Don't take the dildo.
Yeah.
Well, everything like girls will find a way.
You know what we do if they ban porn? We all come together at the Capitol and we stick dildos all over it.
Storm the Capitol with dildos.
Here I had an idea.
There's a
Tiffany just.
I think one of the reasons why everyone's like losing their shit over porn right now is because it's so readily available. It's never been as mass media marketed and as in your face all the time.
When I drove here from LA, there was fucking billboards with like girls only fans ads on it.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can't escape.
That's how like mainstream
I don't
it
know
is.
if it was a conversation with you or I was having a conversation with somebody who was in the business, right? And I said we're in a time right now where we're over eroticized and under sexualized.
Yes.
So if you go and you look at I can go on Instagram right now, and I do all the time to do you guys' thumbnails and everything, right? I can't get away from it, right? And maybe it's because of the business that I'm in, but you literally cannot get away from an ass shot when you're going through Instagram. But the thing is also consider this: 90% of the OnlyFans consumers are married men, so they are underfucked, but they are over eroticized.
So let's talk about this. My parents' generation, there was more sex and less exposition. This generation is more exposition and less sex.
Yes.
And part of the reason why, again, I would recommend you guys read The Value of Others by Orion Taraban, Psych Hacks, where he talks about women price sex here and men price sex here. And because the price of sex is so different between the two genders, they don't meet for negotiation. And so we see the lowest rate of marriage ever. We see massive amounts of men hooking up with no one. We see huge swaths of men going without sex for 1, 2, 3, 4 years. That's what we didn't see this before. And so the reason why we're seeing this now is because we'll have a woman saying, if the average man in the United States makes $59,000 a year and is 5'9", but women on dating apps want a man who makes $200,000 a year and is 6'3", then there's a difference between what she wants from a sexual partner and what men on average can offer and what the price of sex is to them. The difference is so incredibly wide. A woman will say, I want commitment before I have sex. A man will say, I want sex before I have commitment. You understand? If these two things, you can't even negotiate from this point. And so because of that, people actually are hooking up less. Where you go back to the 1970s or the 1960s, it was free love and it was very different situation.
Isn't that kind of ironic that like people look back and they're like, oh, the good old days, like when it was less promiscuous, less degenerate.
Yeah, people
were fucking.
Yes,
people, and it was easy for people to have like a second family in a different town.
Yes,
because you didn't have social media and stuff.
Fucking Instagram, that second family
ruined it for
you.
us.
Get tired of your family, you go see your other family, and nobody knew shit.
But what about try it before you buy it? You know what I mean?
I'm tired of my wife in California. I gotta go see the one in Florida.
Exactly.
Well, no, you're right about that too. It's like when people talk about the greatest generation, you know, World War II generation. If you go back and you look at the child illegitimacy, but especially during the wartime, and the I mean, there were illegal abortions going on at that time as well. If you look at the rates, you're like, damn, man, grandma and grandpa really wanted to get after it. It doesn't. Human beings are human beings, no matter what era that they're in.
Old folks' homes have like one of the highest
Dude,
rates
the villages,
of STDs.
man, the villages, man.
Look at the highest rates of STDs. It's like an old folks' home.
It's true.
Like,
and
they're the greatest generation. Like they're still fucking. Like,
Grandma's
those
still
degenerate boomers.
That's insane. I learned something new tonight.
That's true.
Yeah, like you're in your last days. Might as well.
It's like fucking your credit up right before you're about to. you did a cosigner. I got you.
You want to see this one? Oh, gosh,
I'm like an inheritance.
this is perfect timing too. Here we go.
Big thing one of my guy friends said to me this weekend is that instead of doing girl math, he has a version called boy math where he calculates how much money he's invested into taking girls out on dates. He calls it cost per nut. Naturally, this is all tracked within an Excel spreadsheet labeled CPM. And perhaps the most important trend that you need to be seeing within your CPM is going down over time, both you as a person and your overall cost. And once you reach a certain level of cost per nut, you are eliminated from his repertoire because your cost is exceeding the value you bring.
That sounds like something Aaron Clary would figure out.
So we have to consider this. Like, I thought it was really funny when I saw that. I was laughing my ass off. It was like cost per nut. Like he was literally he had it on a spreadsheet. But again, it goes back to the whole situation. One of the things again, my most recent guest did is he compared basically dating over time, and he used prostitution as not a variable, but as a constant. So he used prostitution as a constant, and then he showed the price of dating increased over time. It became more and more expensive for people to date from an economic standpoint. And so it got to the point where this guy he did the mathematics. He figured out how much he lost in his divorce and how many times he had sex with this woman. It was $50,000 per sexual encounter. Ended up dating this woman. There's another situation, by the way, for women as well. It's like if you're constantly getting invited to Dubai. If I had a friend of mine. He's trying to get this girl to come hang out with him, and she gets invited to a party with French Montana, like the same night. And she's like, "Hey, I got a ditch. I'm going to go hang out with French Montana." From his standpoint, he's like, "Just come hang out with me. Here's a $50 beer." But from her standpoint, it's like going out with you as a normal dude. I'm missing out on French Montana. Like it's this economic cost. Well, if men are like, "This is too expensive for me to go date," and women are like, "This is too expensive for me to miss this opportunity," nobody's fucking. And if you would look at the numbers, you'll find that men under the age of 30, 63% of them are single. That's the point where we are now. About a third of men don't get to participate in short-term dating. And we kind of see it in situations like this because men are becoming more economically knowledgeable about how they're doing it. And while I don't really I don't encourage the whole passport bro thing, I'm starting to understand why. I mean, just from a mathematical standpoint, it just gets outrageous.
Just put that anyway.
Anybody have any thoughts about this?
First scared the shit out of me.
Do you have a cost per nut calculator?
Hell no.
No?
No, if you really like
How would that work for women?
Oh, dude, I don't know. Like,
I feel
How many did you
like
get tonight?
her in the whole video, I'm not gonna lie, that was a lot to unbag. I didn't even understand half of the things that she was saying, but I feel like it goes hand in hand with like, oh, women overthinking things. I feel like men are not thinking that deep into it. Like she's like, oh, they got a nut calculator and all that. I don't think men are thinking that.
No, they're just
like,
trying to bust.
It's like
that one guy was particularly
right. I was like, what are you even talking about? A nut calculator?
Yeah,
I need one. Apparently,
gamma males keep Excel spreadsheets for sure.
yeah, Excel
They
spreadsheet.
do.
That's-
Yes.
What's a gamma male?
It's part of the socio-sexual hierarchies. It's alpha, beta, delta, gamma,
Sigma.
omega. Sigma is not a real thing.
Do you know
It's not a real thing.
You know the Incredible Hulk?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how
He's a gamma.
More or less,
Gamma
yeah,
rays?
gamma rays.
Same thing with Spider-Man. He's a gamma.
So if he's an omega, he lives in the basement.
More or less.
Oh god.
Yeah, more or less. The gammas are the guys who are like the note takers and the Excel spreadsheet makers and the people who try to analyze things from the most rational, like nuts and bolts, tiniest details. They're the ones that are like, who will give you an exit interview for a date? You know, like, oh, you're never going to date me again. Here's the exit interview. Let me ask you why you're rejecting me, so I know what to do on the next time around.
Wasn't there was a guy who kept it was a Reddit post. He kept a spreadsheet of like
every time his girlfriend turned him down.
His wife turned
Yeah,
him
I saw
down
that one. Yeah.
for like what, a year or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
like women automatically. I think women instinctually know a guy who's a gamma male because like they have this uncontrollable urge to like punch him in the face because Well, because women want to play the game. They don't want to be told that they're being played. You know, they don't want to be told, okay, here's what you're doing right now, and let me explain to you how this is going to go down. By the time we get, to dinner tonight, we're gonna, like, it's this laundry list.
Hyperlogical. Yeah, there's no rationale there when you get to that point.
Well, it's guys who think that, like, it's like almost taking, like, direct game to its most illogical extreme, like an absurd extreme. So it's like guys who are like, we'll make an Excel spreadsheet for it, or make a cost per nut. Like at what point does it become like cost opportunity or sunk cost fallacy? It's like, dude, you can go rub one out. Does that count as part of the
but you're actually you're making his point for him though, right? I'm not the one making the spreadsheet, but if you're aware of the spreadsheet and someone did the math and it came out to these crazy numbers, then it makes you aware. Like when you talk to James Sexton and you listen to the crazy numbers that guys end up paying, the guys end up paying in divorce. If you end up seeing that, it doesn't mean you have to go out there and make a spreadsheet, but at least you can be aware of that. Just because I didn't get bit by a shark off Galveston doesn't mean I don't need to know about the last person who did. That's just, I just think it's more,
You didn't get the gamma?
I didn't get the gamma. I'm not Spider-Man.
Well,
nor am I the Hulk
so
Hogan.
if James Sexton is breaking down like the cost for divorce, a cost for marriage, I know he's gone. I don't know if it's in his book, but he's gone from like, but from the time you propose, or even before that, right? You got to get the ring. You got to do all these, like, there's all this series of things. It's this industrialized, commercialized machine, right? So even before you pop the question, you're already part of the industry. And then you go through that, and then you go through, diapers, and through a baby shower, and through, the wedding, and the wedding, right? And then how much is it going to cost you to break up? How is it to be separated? What's going to cost you for like marriage counseling? What's it going to cost you when you finally go and you file papers? And you get, that's why he titled his book, "If You're in My Office, It's Already Too Late."
You guys, go ahead.
Yeah, so these guys with the spreadsheets, are they focusing on the wrong thing as far as money's not going to open up a woman for what they want? And so, because I read this book when I was going through kind of my own personal struggles and kind of feeling out how to do this thing, and the whole thing was that like women want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to be talked to, and can you put that into words for them? And so it's almost like if you're focusing only on how much I'm spending, then you're going down this goal, you're never going to get to it. You got to kind of reevaluate and see like what's actually going to work, and then that way you'll probably be more successful.
It might not have been about his success or not success, but like how much effort he had to put in for the level of success that he got. Maybe he got
not the wrong effort.
Here's the other thing, guys. In general, it is almost always cheaper for a man to be single, and it is almost always cheaper for a woman to be in a relationship, and that's the issue. That's most of the time. Now, obviously, women who make a ton of money from OnlyFans, that's not the case, but for most women, most of the time, that is the case. And so, because of that, men are just like they have to look at it from the transactional standpoint, because if you don't, someone will. Like at some point, you get divorced when you were sitting there thinking that everything had to do with soulmates. You didn't get a prenup, and this girl was your soulmate, and we were going to be together forever because of the words that we said at our wedding. And then all of a sudden you get divorced, and then reality hits you, and you're like, wait a second, this wasn't supposed to happen. And then you end up like making some posts saying, man, this is really bad. I don't recommend a marriage. And everyone's like, look at this hateful incel talking about I hate marriage. It's like, no, guys are actually getting taken advantage of in the marriage market. This is a real thing that's happening. Doesn't mean you should never get married, but you should at least know what it is that you're doing and understand, the perils that await you.
One of my buddies is actually what you call a forensic accountant. So his job is to let's say ultra high net worth divorce, right? The dude's like a decamillionaire. His job, he gets hired by the wife to find his money.
Yeah.
Is it in a trust fund? Is it in like an offshore bank account?
Forensic. Forensic account.
That's what he does, right? And so if he talks to you,
I bet he's probably the FBI hires them. I bet he probably started in law enforcement and then moved out.
But he has this thing, like he has like a marriage. How's he call it? He calls it not like a checklist, or a marriage audit. That's what he calls it. And it's like, when was you just ask the guys these questions, like when was the last time your wife gave you a blowjob? Mm-hmm. If they have to think about that question at all, red flag. You're in fucking trouble. You're in fucking trouble if she hasn't given you a blowjob. But if you have to even think about, it was like last. If it wasn't just like, of course she gives me a blowjob, you're in big fucking trouble.
Well, even a lot of couples after a few years, they get to a point where they're not having sex consistently, or especially when they get older, right? And then they'll be like, they haven't had sex for like 10 years or something. And then one of them passes away, and then they're just like, "I want to fuck."
It's true. Like when even James was talking about this. As soon as guys get out of a relationship or women get out of a relationship, they're like, let's get crazy.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of the things that one of the items that I'm working on with the guys who are 45, 65, that when they get out of a divorce, they want to just go out and fuck, right? Because they were in a sexless marriage, and now it's like, it's time to go party, right? And the problem is those guys end up getting rolled because they're not ready for that. And so the first girl who comes and touches their dick is now that's the one, and now we got to go get married again. Yes. And so now they start the cycle all over again. And so that's like actually a chapter in a book that I'm writing right now for that. What do we got? Oh gosh, that one. Okay.
No, I find that very interesting how when people get out, I feel like even younger people, when you get out of a relationship, people are like, the best way to get over it is to get under it,
dealt with
right?
the man going through a separation, and the divorce is really nasty. And I'm not gonna lie, the woman, she was crazy and she's really spiteful. But I remember he was leaning on me for like emotional support, and we didn't have that type of relationship, if you feel where I'm coming from. And I remember one time he literally cried. He's like, "Are you mad at me? We didn't cuddle tonight." I'm like, ain't no way you're gonna try and cry yourself into some pussy right now, because I don't know. But yeah, it's like things like that.
That
like
doesn't
he
convert
went
into pussy.
forever
Isn't
without
it weird? Isn't it weird how men don't get that? Like they do that, or they like leave YouTube comments like standing up for women in like fucking stupid YouTube videos or Instagram, and then like think they're gonna get
she
pussy.
sees this,
And they
bro.
hope she sees it. They think they're gonna get pussy from
Swear.
it. It's like every
It's
time.
giving
And I
pick
text them,
me.
I'm like, "Hey, bro, she's not gonna fuck you just because you disagreed with me on this fucking thing. Men like sex with a variety of partners more than women do. There's tons of studies on this. You can keep telling me I'm wrong, but like she's not gonna fuck you, bro. Like I don't understand."
Which one? That one?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Bag with me to go surprise my ex-boyfriend in New York City for his birthday. My ex-boyfriend and I used to see each other weekly, but now that I moved, I don't get to see him often, so this is a really big deal. He's had this trip planned with all of our friends for a while now, but last minute, my husband and I decided to go surprise him. Even though he's my ex-boyfriend, he is still my best friend in the entire world, and we stayed so close. So I am so excited to surprise him and see the look on his face and spend 4 days with him in New York City. I'm also so excited that my husband gets to come with me because him and my ex-boyfriend have gotten so close over the years. Plus, my husband's ex-girlfriend is actually going to be there too. At first, I didn't really want her to come, but then I realized that if she comes, then her and my husband will hang out more, and I get to spend more time with my ex-boyfriend. So, it's a win-win for everybody. Now that the bags are all packed, we're putting the kids down to sleep tonight, and then we are headed off to the airport. I can't wait to see him. This is going to be so much fun.
Oh hell no! Oh hell no!
She's
What the
obviously
hell?
joking.
Divorce, immediate
The
divorce.
ex-boyfriend, the ex-girlfriend, the husband, the boy.
No, she's obviously joking.
I don't think so. And my favorite part of it, he goes, "I didn't want his ex-girlfriend to come at first, but then I was like, you didn't want his ex to come? What are you doing?" It's so crazy.
No, she's definitely joking. There's no way that's real.
I think it's
But
I think
if
it's real. I think
it's real.
hypothetically it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is this like a swingers situation?
Yeah.
No,
No,
definitely
no.
not. Definitely
it
not.
wasn't.
No,
No.
definitely not a swinger situation.
No.
No. She's intimating that the other woman is coming and she's not allowed to do anything. But no, it's not supposed to be a swinger situation.
Yeah.
Is she cheating on her boyfriend? Most definitely. Maybe not even with this guy, with someone else, because she doesn't have enough respect.
That's
for
an
her
awful
ex.
lot of clothes to be taking.
Right. I mean, hey.
We're going to New York and we're going to surprise
pack
her.
a lot.
I couldn't even imagine if my ex showed up and surprised me and my girlfriend was home. You want to talk about nuclear war? It ain't going to happen in Ukraine. It's going to happen at fucking Panorama Towers. Are you kidding me, bro? My God, bro, she's got a Glock 17 in the drawer, and it would be on and popping if some girl showed up. My ex showed up. We're here to surprise you and spend the weekend with you.
I miss you so much.
I miss you so much. And she knows both of them. She knows Voldemort and fucking
Oh,
Sauron.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I got the nickname.
It's like Voldemort and Sauron.
She knows Voldemort and Sauron. She knows Vader too. She knows all three of them. Go
Shout
ahead.
out
Now,
to Voldemort.
Prior to like social media, how common do you think something like this would actually be? Like, because now we have the ability to actually facilitate stuff like this.
And stalk when people like actually.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I can remember back in the day, and this was back when Facebook was actually a thing, like 2006, 2007. And there was a time where like everybody would go to like a like your high school reunion or something like 10 years, 20 years, something to see how everybody's doing. And you're like, oh man, I'm going to look better. I'm going to be hotter than them. Whatever. And it's like, you don't even need to do that anymore because it's just, it's just,
You go back to your high school reunion.
Yeah.
You don't even you were like doing extra
because
crunches.
you
show up and
see
it's just
everybody
like-
already on social media.
No, but I'm just saying you're so far ahead. Just don't be obese. You're like,
Yeah,
winning
exactly,
already.
and you win.
Like
Yeah.
40% of the country's obese. What do you think it is when you're 46 years old? It's like 70% of the country. Come on, man, you're good.
Do people even have high school reunions anymore?
I love my high school reunions.
I saw all my bullies, and they're fat as fuck, and I've never been happier.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
You're like,
Ladies, we have a question for you, and
Yes.
we're going to post it on this next
Yes.
one.
Oh
You
boy,
guys
I
tell me what you
cannot wait to hear what Tiffany has to say about this one.
Either date an illegal immigrant or a liberal.
Oh my gosh. That is like the worst question ever. I don't know. Like, probably. Oh my gosh. I would say no. I would say an illegal immigrant.
what?
Go. Illegal immigrant or a liberal? Go.
Me?
Alina.
Immigrant.
Immigrant, what do you think?
Definitely the immigrant. He
The
can be
immigrant?
trainable.
Yeah?
Immigrant. I'm
Immigrant.
gonna make him work for the
You
green
need somebody
card.
who's both.
You want someone who's an illegal immigrant and
And
a liberal?
liberal?
Yeah, sure.
There's a
whatever.
few. What do you think? You want the liberal.
No, I'm saying immigrant. Come on now.
Okay, this is a false choice because statistically, the illegal immigrant is going to vote Democrat anyway.
So here's the thing.
That's what I was
Maybe.
saying.
Hold on. Yeah, the first generation will. The second generation, you guys keep forgetting that Mexico is a Catholic country. When the second generation of Mexicans in this country, they voted for Bush. Go look for yourself.
Hey, in Miami, even the Cubans that don't have green cards, like Donald Trump.
Yeah, as soon as you get citizenship in this country, you're like, keep those fucking illegals out of here. Fill that wall. It's so funny. My mom is immigrated in 1974. She's like, build that wall. Keep them out. What the fuck? So
There's
crazy.
two people from out of the country.
It's so crazy.
Right here.
The other thing I will say is just so crazy to me is the number of progressive women that I see that like want a conservative man. Because like when they go look across at men that are progressive, they're like, this isn't what I'm looking for. I want a man who's like,
I don't want a dude who he's like, oh, I'm a shaman. I love doing ayahuasca
Shut
and
up.
like going to random orgies and shit. I'm like, no, I'm not interested.
That or like
He doesn't
bisexual
like
men.
random
Like I have nothing against bisexual men. I love them.
I dated a
love the
bisexual
gays,
guy for
but
a
when it
while.
comes to me, I gotta. I'd rather not have a booty dick.
We need to ask.
That's a rabbit hole.
We need to ask. We need to ask.
No, because like what you just said, so many women will say like, yeah, I've got gay friends, gay rights, and then if you went up to those same women and said like, okay, if your boyfriend came to you today and said like, oh, you sucked a dick here and there,
ladies, raise your hand if you would date a bisexual man. Ladies, you raise your hand.
I have.
Raise your hand if you would date a bisexual man.
I already have.
If you would date a bisexual man.
Tomo would not.
You wouldn't, right? You would not.
I wouldn't. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I
We
have
need
and
to-
I would.
bigot.
I remember going to him and saying that I wanted to have a threesome, and the first thing he said was guy or girl.
Oh, I remember when I first met you. You were
Yeah.
dating this guy. I remember that. Yeah, we were. Yeah, during COVID.
Yeah.
I got. We have to ask the guys the same question.
No,
Illegal
I think it's
immigrant
pretty straight here.
or liberal woman.
Oh, I liberal woman because I can
See?
turn, I'll
See?
turn her.
Huh?
I'll turn her into a Democrat. I'll turn her into a
I
Republican.
can turn her. I can.
I'll
switch.
turn her. I'll turn her. Easy.
I can change
for,
her.
for men, illegal immigrant. What do you guys think? Illegal
do you guys
immigrant,
think?
or unless you guys are progressive. What do you think? Illegal immigrant. What do you think? Illegal immigrant or a liberal?
Liberal woman.
There's so many other factors.
Stop dodging the
Great
question.
answer. Great
I don't think
answer.
you
That's a
understand which
good answer.
podcast you're on.
Correct.
Yeah. My girlfriend's from Arkansas, so she is an immigrant to Texas. So I'll take the illegal immigrant.
Which one's
But let me
freakier,
tell you
the
something, she's
immigrants
more-
or the liberals?
My girlfriend is so conservative. Myron Gaines would be like, "Yo, chill out, honey. This is too much. No, let's not repeal the 19. You micro." It's
Oh
like
my
whenever I want
God.
to see how far the thing is shifted to the right, I just ask Kylie. That's all I have to do, man. All right, this one's pretty funny. You seen this one?
Okay, let me
Yeah.
pull that up.
This one's great. This guy makes some of the best videos, and this one's really funny. And to be fair, this is how I should start reacting instead of the way that I do. You and I should take a lesson from this one.
Okay, here we go.
A 90% chance that when I decide to get married, it'll be with a girl that's not from America. Men are now more objectified than women. They're simply viewed for what they can provide and what they can do for others.
Did you hear that? Because I think that was all the women in America breathing a collective sigh of relief after finding out that they don't meet that man's criteria for marriage material. I do, however, wonder if we should be sending out some kind of global alert to the women in other countries to let them know he's on the loose.
Whew. Could you imagine being married to this lady? Not only did she not tag me and cut the clip short so she could push her messaging, she dedicated her entire page and social media presence to just attacking men. And look, I don't know what this girl's been through, and I hope she's okay, but you don't dedicate your entire life to doing this unless you are hurt. This really reaffirms my original video. Men want peace and respect. We don't care what you bring to the table financially. It is in our nature to protect and provide.
Anyone, ladies?
He forgot cooking and having a fat ass.
I mean, to be honest with you, like I'm kind of fine hiring a chef. I don't need her to cook. She does, but I don't need her to. Like that's not a marriage thing.
See, but you're Colombian and I'm Italian. Italians like to cook. You know what I mean? Mozzarella.
There we go. Anyway, ladies, any of you guys have any opinion about this?
I just feel like it's fingers pointing fingers, you know, like we both have our own cons and pros to everything. So he's like, men are more objectified, but you know, women have been objectified for how long or whatever. And then even then, like women are still being objectified, whether it's like what they can provide or, you know, what they're doing. Like, oh, you have an OnlyFans, like blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Like, I don't know. It's just like different levels to it, you know, like
I agree that women
we're
throughout
fighting for levels at this point.
I agree that women throughout history have been more objectified than men, but I'm not getting married in 1963. I'm
Wait,
getting married today.
I have a question for the guys, though.
Right.
Just for the guys, was it me or did that woman look like a thumb?
A thumb?
A thumb?
Yeah, she looked like a thumb.
Spy Kids, the thumb
No, but it is kind of a cope because the reality of the situation, and I don't even mean to say this.
She
to
looks
be
like
mean.
nobody, but like to be honest, like it's like I'm like the all-star team. I bat for both teams, and it's like I want to go after that.
Yeah, that's my point. It's like I forgot who said this, but it was like you notice that more attractive women are less likely to be feminists. It's just the truth.
Have you noticed everyone at the abortion like rallies and stuff that are against abortion, like they all got blue, purple hair and they look like thumbs.
Oh yeah, like social justice warrior stuff going on.
Yeah, and the part is,
well, he looked like one of those toys that you like the stress toys that you squeeze and the eyeballs pop out. He looked like that to me.
One of the issues is maybe she's not even aware of this, but it's part of a cope. Like a high status man would not marry her at this point. No offense to her, it's just the truth. It's just very unlikely that a guy who's very high status is going to marry someone like her. And so the way she copes is by saying, "Oh, did you see this high status man saying I'd like to marry someone out of the country?" While then she goes off and does the exact same thing that he's accusing her of. Yeah. She's sitting there on social media complaining. Like, could you imagine? Even if she wasn't about me, having a wife who literally dedicates an entire page to trashing men, could you guys imagine that, like the level, like what it would be like, your home life would be like dealing with something like that?
No, you just gotta be miserable to be doing that
Every
stuff and like
time
sitting
Robo,
in that.
like retweets my shit. It's like the same thing with men.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it'll be like 250, like 300-pound plus men that are probably like fat, living in their mom's basement. And they're just like, "You're a fucking whore."
What's that one dude's name?
Whore.
Samuel? What's that one dude's name? The
Like, why
black
don't
dude that
you
just
respect
died.
yourself?
His name was like Samuel something.
Kevin Samuel?
Yeah, Kevin Samuel.
Samuels.
Like, I don't know. I like
Yeah.
him, but then I don't know. Sometimes
No,
I
it's
didn't.
always
No,
it's always some
no.
loser,
I don't know. It's iffy.
some fat incel loser that's like just angry at the world because he can't get any. That's commenting on
Yep.
girls' photos, being like, "Why are you objectifying yourself?"
But
Blah
he
blah blah.
also jerks off.
I need to
to
jump
your
in.
pictures.
He'll still go to your
We can-
Instagram.
by the way,
and
we can find the same thing on both sides. Like you said before, we're going to find the woman who's like, I can't believe that she would date a man that much older than him or whatever. They infantilize a woman under 25 because she's too stupid to figure out she shouldn't date Leonardo DiCaprio. She's not too stupid to vote for Joe Biden. If she voted for Joe Biden, totally fine. Yeah. She's not infantilized then. But if she decides that she wants to date a man who's older than her, who's wealthy, we can't have that. That's not allowed. So we'll see that. But on the other hand, we also see, like, again, I tell guys this all the time. You're calling a woman a slut who would not date you. What does that say about you? You're calling a woman a slut, but she wouldn't fuck you. What does that say about you? You see what I'm saying? And that's the problem. It's like, it's one of these situations where it's like, listen, don't judge people. Let them do whatever the fuck they want to do. But it's just so funny to me because we see this on both sides. He and I have seen this since we've been doing the show. It's just one of these situations where you're saying every woman is trash. They're all like, trash like this because it's a cope for you. She needs a cope. She needs to deal with the fact that she is not desired like she was in her early 20s, just like some of these men need to cope. And they're just like, I'm not desired by women. Therefore, I'm going to go on social media because I know a lot of guys who fuck a lot of women and make a lot of money. And you know what they don't do? Leave comments on YouTube or Instagram. They don't even know how to do it. That's what happens. I know the dudes that I know, the guys that I know that are super successful, they're too busy fucking on vacation with their wife. Like that's what's happening. And they've got kids and they're having a great time. And you go up to them and like, hey, Wes Watson, do you know how to leave a fucking negative post on social media? I don't know how to leave any post on social media. Dan Fleischman, how do you leave negative comments? I have no fucking idea. Ty Lopez, not a fucking clue. Like they don't know shit. They don't understand how to do it. So that's the reason why. Can we do something? Could we, do you want to move over to this side and then you move up one? Let's do that real quick. Okay, we're gonna do that real quick.
Did we lose?
Yeah, we look. She had
she
to
had a
go
roll
somewhere. Yeah.
Cool. I'll chime in on this really quick here. As like, Tiffany, like when I go and I if I retweet your stuff for whatever reason, I understand why it's frustrating because
no, it's not
like,
frustrating. I laugh at it because it's like I'm so happy. Like it's almost a compliment because it's just like, man, these people are so miserable. They like come to my page and they like air their negativity, but it's like I'm so happy.
There's a trend, let's just say, of guys who they don't really care about anything else except for like seeing like women who they could never get their comeuppance.
Oh, totally.
Like get some sort of, it's almost like revenge porn in some ways.
Yeah.
It's the most attention they'll ever get.
Well,
from
okay. Here's the thing with that, right? Is
yeah.
I'm waiting for that camera to. I'm waiting for the camera to switch on to me because I'm making a good point. There we go. Never.
Thank you, Travis.
Like the world isn't like there's no such thing as like fair. Yeah. Like people have this, like especially these same kind of guys we're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. They have this concept in their head that women are going to get their comeuppance. They're going to get what they deserve. Mm-hmm. That doesn't happen. And we just went through a bunch of examples like. These same guys would not expect Riley Reid to get a husband.
Your girl is going to cheat on you, and you think because your mommy told you that you're too special for her. No, bro, she's on a boat in Biscayne with 27 dudes in her DMs trying to fly her places and give her money. Yeah. Like you want her to pay for it. And like some of them actually might, but it won't be because you wished for it. It's going to be just because of certain like sexual economic realities that happen. She gets older or whatever, and she's less desired. That's the only reason why it'll happen. It's not karma though, bro. Yeah. And the problem is when you focus on karma against women instead of your bench press max and your business and your own peace of mind, your own intellect, your own charisma, and your own education, if you don't focus on that and all you focus on is hurting the woman, all you're going to do is live in that disgusting place where you're just like, again, one more time, you're calling a girl a slut who wouldn't fuck you. Yeah. What does that say about you? Yeah.
Right. One of the biggest copes I see all the time is like I personally get attacked for is like you wouldn't a good woman wouldn't want to date you, Sterling, because of my past and having been in porn stuff. Yeah. Every girlfriend I've had for the last like 3 years has been like either super religious or like a ridiculously low body count.
Can we talk about this? This is one of the issues. And again, at some point I'd like to have Alex Datesike on. He talks about this socio-sexual group and the same thing. Jasmine Jafar made this argument that the socio-sexual group of men only sleep with the socio-sexual group of women. That just isn't the case.
Not true.
If you have any guy friends who are male, who are VIP hosts, male strippers, guys who've just been with like hundreds of women, you find out that they date just as many girls with low body counts who are just like good girls because attraction triggers are ubiquitous amongst women. This idea that only the socio-sexual women date only the socio-sexual men is simply not the case. All you have to do is find any fucking guy who has a lot of experience with women, and he'll show you very easily. And so that's the thing. What they did, though, is they try to say, well, there isn't a group of men that are these men who have high body counts at the top. So top 5% of men, it's about 50 lifetime sexual partners. Top 1% of men, it's 150 sexual partners. There's like, well, yeah, but they're all sleeping with the same group of girls. And I can tell you that's not the case. That's absolutely not the case. It's just a cope. And I haven't seen any data to show that is the case. While there may be a socio-sexual group of women that are out there, the top 5% of women have had 35 sexual partners. The top 5% of women have had 16 sexual partners, and the top 1% have had 35. So it's 4 times more for men than women. That doesn't match up. If socio-sexual men are sleeping with socio-sexual women, that doesn't match up. And then empirically, I can just show you, like any one of these guys who's really good with women, like it's just not the case, right?
Yeah. I'll show you something else too, is that like these same kind of guys who just live on their keyboards and don't actually live in the real world at all. They have this perception that, like you say, maybe women like you who work in adult film or whatever, right?
Sex workers
in general. They have this perception that a sex worker is super easy to sleep with compared to like compared to say like the good girl from Boise, Idaho, or whatever. It's completely not the case.
By the way, they also think that the girl who went to college and is in a sorority has a lower body count than the OnlyFans sex worker who's only fucked her husband on camera and no one else. Bingo. That is the other part that is just mind blowing to me. Is like when I see that kind of stuff and I'm like, yo, bro, that girl that you met, the Sally from accounting, that girl has been with a lot of fucking dudes, but she doesn't know that. It's real talk. Like I've just seen it over and over again.
Like we can talk about how my friend did triple the other night.
Oh yeah, so hold on. If Sally from accounting, she'd be getting around.
Really,
she'd be deducting and adding.
Like, I'm not like that anymore.
These are always screws.
She'd be looking at the depreciation of dick. You know what I'm saying? That's Sally from accounting.
No, so one of my friends, she flew into Vegas and she hooked up with this guy. And then when
just say who the guys are. You don't have to say who she is.
I don't know who the first guy was.
Yeah.
Like some groupie dude, whatever. And then she went and hooked up with her ex-boyfriend. And then she went and hooked up with Waka Flocka afterwards.
In the same night.
All in the same night. She pulled a triple.
PH.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is my favorite thing.
The Waka Flocka that walked off a Fresh Fit.
This is my favorite thing. Whenever you girls talk about this stuff, we talk about having sex with 3 dudes at the same time. It's never that's gross. It's always, oh, my vagina's pH balance will be off. Nobody clip this.
Yeah.
Get some BB.
Yeah. No, my
Travis,
pH
mark that.
So this girl from the sex industry.
Say it again.
Oh,
She
yeah.
does OnlyFans, yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I don't
But,
want to
like,
say too much. I think I'm going to get
she's
shot
just
by the
texting
time I
me.
get home by my family. But
You're telling me girls try to sleep with skateboarders back in the day?
I mean, that's
Girls threw it at Tony Hawk.
Intrigued by people.
Can you get me free Thrasher merch, please?
So I guess you could play that game, but it's more like some of the innocent girls that their body counter that play off.
It is crazy, yeah. It is. It's what like whenever I started meeting some of these girls, and they had been like, yeah, I've been with like 4 dudes in my whole life, and they film on OF, and it doesn't make sense because the guys think that those girls are easier, and it doesn't work out that way because they've also transmuted what sexual intercourse means to them, right? It's like you think it's easier for them, but in their mind, it's like I'm going to get something for this. You see what I'm saying?
The girls on the OnlyFans are like better business women.
Yeah.
Understand that if they're going to put out that they're making money, at least the other girls will go to a club, get bottle service and get a table and
It's an
give it up
exchange
for
of
something.
value.
Yeah, it's always an exchange of value. But what's you got one girl hating on the fact that these girls strip or they're and you look at her body count and what she's doing, and she might have a great job making money, but the fact is that she's actually a worse businesswoman than the other girls.
No, it's not just that. The girl that I see often is the one that is absolutely certain that she wants a relationship with every guy she sleeps with. So she ends up sleeping with one guy and she has a boyfriend for 6 months and then another boyfriend for 6 months and then another one. And she can't make them stick. She can't make it work because she's her views are unrealistic. And then afterwards, in her mind, she's like, I'm a good girl because I want a relationship. But then she's been with more dudes than the girl who just sleeps around
or whatever. But but the expectation is and then she wants a guy that has has his shit together, isn't out there doing the same things that she's doing after she takes off her work clothes and throws on her night gear, goes out gets wasted and ends up with the guy that night. And it's repetitive, but then she wants a guy that's like Prince Charming, that has all of his shit together, makes good money, that's classy, that has standards and all of the things,
Yeah.
But you're like, where's the
it goes both ways though.
It does. I'm not saying it doesn't.
No, I'm not arguing with you.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's it's like it's obviously your expectations should meet what your it's like to each and own, but the expectations.
I'm not gonna yuck your yum, but like
I mean,
that was good.
Whoa, that's a good one. I like that.
Like, don't be a hypocrite.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
But I feel like women definitely get more of a bad rap if they're doing
it's because women it's more available for women to do that. It takes a lot of skill for a guy to be able to do it. For women, it's not the same set of criteria.
We always say like don't date the stripper if you don't want her to be a stripper, right? Like you can't start dating a stripper and be like, I want you to get out of it, blah 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 blah. Like you knew what you were getting into when you started this thing.
They tried.
Sort of.
But they always crash and burn.
So the issue is, guys, like, so remember I said before, there's 3 genders. There's high status men, there's women, and there's low status men. Low status men are going to date the hottest thing they can get their hands on, and they don't care about your political affiliation or how close you are with your family because they don't have any options. So like the idea is like, well, you should have known better when you started dating me. No, that stripper is the best thing he's ever going to get because as everything gets shifted to the right, meaning fewer and fewer men are deemed to be attractive, and these men at the top get more and more sexual access while the men at the bottom get less and less, If you don't understand what I'm talking about, please watch Scott Galloway. He goes over this. If dating were a country, it'd be fucking Venezuela. It's so inequitable the way it's going right now. So if you guys want, and by the way, those of you who are trying to say that, again, love Jasmine, but she's trying to say that there is no crisis in dating and that hypergamy doesn't manifest. And my whole issue with that is then go ahead and argue with William Costello. Go ahead and argue with fucking Scott Galloway. Go ahead and argue with David Buss. Go ahead and argue with all these guys that are coming, and Richard Reeves. They've all come to the same conclusion. There is a crisis when it comes to dating. That is absolutely true. So going back to what he said, do you want to go to the next clip?
Yeah, I'm just going to throw one more thing out here real quick is sort of on the same thing where guys are like, who will criticize this show. Like we're not here expressly to kick women off the show. And so we end up getting a lot of shit from guys saying, oh, you guys aren't hard enough on me. You're not giving that. Basically what we're not doing is we're not giving you this vicarious thrill of getting a girl, all worked up so she leaves the show or we kick them off the show or whatever. You're disrespecting us, right? It's like, well, that's not the point of the show. We're here to have like a substantive like conversation, like a real conversation, right? But again, it's this desire for that comeuppance that we're not like, it's like we bring you to the edge and we don't give it to it. We just don't give it to you because that's not something that we've been about for a long time. And then before we could do the next one of the things this lady said and the guy was saying too is like, and I keep hearing this over and over and over again. I really wanted to talk about this is I keep hearing this bullshit about like, I need her to be my peace. And I'm like, I've been married for 28 years as of last week. Right. And I'm like, there's no fucking way you could possibly think that this person is going to be your fucking piece. I mean, you want somebody playing on your own team. You don't want somebody playing against you, right? But I'm like, there's no peace. You have to learn to like thrive in the chaos. All right, it's like
or be your own peace,
or be your own peace. Exactly.
Peace, yeah.
Exactly. And so like I whenever I hear this like. What do you bring to the table? I'm going to be my man's piece. No, you're not going to be a man's piece.
What you can do is not distract.
A side piece, maybe.
Not distract from his piece, right? And then especially when it gets in, we had Lolo on here last week, and she's like, I'm dating. If I'm dating a very successful man, I understand that I need to not introduce chaos into his life.
Yeah, it's an attention thing too. Yeah. Like if a guy's super successful and he's busy and he's running a business or whatever, like she has to realize that his attention is very, very valuable. Mm-hmm. And so he can't give her all of the attention she might want.
Yes.
Every minute of every day. And I think that's what a lot of guys mean when they say like they want their peace. They just want to be left the fuck alone.
Yes.
That's what I was gonna say. Like you have to like they're gonna want to spend time with you because they like you, they enjoy your presence. Yeah. But you have to realize that what they're doing takes time and give them the time that they need to do their work.
And when they're doing their work,
remove yourself.
And when they're doing their work, it's not because they hate you. When they want to be,
money.
It's not because they're mad at you. It's because they're making money.
You take care of them. It's like they should be supportive in the process of that.
Yeah, it's like every few hours I'll come in and ask if you want food. Or coffee or whatever.
Maybe, like if you're working hard, it's like you don't always want to be working hard, but you want to provide and you want to be successful at the same time that you'd rather be hanging out with your girl or whatever.
Of course you would, right? So it's more fun.
It's like catch-22 because the girl expects you to provide and just deliver.
The issue is when you have a guy who's like a trust fund kid or a drug dealer, he has plenty of time and money to spend with her, and then so every guy she dates from that point subsequently, she's kind of ruined because she starts thinking, well, this guy should have a ton of time with me. Is like, well, how is he going to pay for your life? Or he has a ton of money, in which case he doesn't have the time for you because that's how most.
He hasn't texted me back in 30 minutes. Oh my God.
Yeah. Exactly. That's
I don't need peace. I need a pit crew. I need somebody like where the tires are flat, help me put the damn tires back, put some fuel back in the tank, get me back on a fucking road again.
Well, if you're really busy, you're not paying people. Like you're not doing that shit for yourself. You're paying somebody to do all those things.
And I need them to get those tires off and back on again in less than 30 seconds.
Way to be a good hustler and to be on top of your game with your girl.
You just need to be like, I need silence right now. I gotta work. I gotta focus. And if somebody doesn't respect your time like that, then
here's another way of respecting your time. If you want something from a man, tell him what you want and stop thinking he's supposed to just know. But again, it's one of the worst things I've seen. One of the worst characteristics I've seen when I talk to some of my female friends is like, he should just know what I want. And I'm like, do you not understand? He's like, it's so, because the problem is you think you're leaving breadcrumbs and you're not doing a great job of that. And also this is the key to passive aggressive communication. Yeah. This is something they warn about when you join the military. You have to be direct and you have to just like, he should just know to come in here and ask how I'm feeling. I'm like, but do you understand people want to kill him? You understand? People want to take his money. They want to take his job. You understand the level of stress that he goes through so that you don't have to do that? And it's just crazy to me whenever I hear women say he should just know. He should not just know. That's not how this works.
Well,
right?
that's the difference between female and male communication,
Yes.
right? Like girls just think that they're like, oh, well, you should know what I want. And he's like, there's like that scene from The Notebook.
You should just get it.
And he's like holding her up against the car and he's like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
but what I'm trying to explain to you guys, I
want a romance novel that's not written by a dude.
like ladies, if any ladies are listening to this, if you worked in my company and you were like, Michael should just know what I want, I would fire you. Like you're just because it's not only that you are ruining the culture of my company, you're spreading your passive aggressive behavior is a disease. If I talk shit about Niku to someone else over here, then now he has to hold the secret that I told him. Now he's being passive aggressive. Now my inner bitch is causing him to be a bitch. It's like that's how passive aggressive behavior acts. Ladies, if you can just go to your man and be like,
bitch.
you go to your man and be like, I'd like for you to ask me how my day was right now. I'd be like, yes, of course. Finally, I'm getting some fucking direction because I'm being pulled in 19 different directions. Anyway.
I feel like everybody wants to be like, oh, how come you're not asking how I'm feeling? But they don't ask, hey, how are you doing?
Yes, for sure.
No, well, like I've had conversations with guys where I'm like, I'm gonna bitch for a few minutes, and I just need you to sit down and listen.
Incredible.
Are we ready for not about the nail?
Incredible. Elena.
I mean, I agree with the direct, assertive communication style, but on the other hand, make him think it's his idea.
Sure, that's fine too.
That's how men work.
That's right. Manipulate your man, ladies. Make sure you manipulate.
Not in like a cruel or like a mean way, but give it.
No, in a nice way, but manipulate him for sure. Go ahead.
It'd be really cool if we went for Chinese food tonight.
You know what I would love is some chat. Yeah, for sure. Make it obvious.
Yes. All right, here we go.
Oh, poor guy.
So great. And ladies, any thoughts?
Wow. There was a video I watched that was similar, and it was this guy who was infertile, and his girlfriend didn't know that he was like sterile.
Yeah. Right.
And they're sitting in the car, and she's like, "Babe, I'm pregnant," and he was like, "Well, that's funny because I'm sterile." So that's how he found out that she was cheating on him. Like what?
Touchy subject.
I think
somebody like I don't. It's so.
You don't want to rat him out.
You don't gotta say any names.
I think any man who accepts that is a fucking loser. Like you have no fucking self-respect at all to let a woman do that to you. That is fucking pathetic. I think I'm getting really angry about this. But I think, seriously, like, how could you possibly let a woman convince you to raise another man's fucking child?
It's recessive genes.
It's recessive genes.
Again, if you have children and you come from a marriage and you
if you got baited into that,
Oh, yeah.
you didn't know, and then you found out like you had a connection with the kid already. It's like, what do you do?
I know a guy
I know a guy like that.
who took one of those like 23andMe DNA tests, and he found like that you can turn on a setting where it says show your DNA relatives or whatever, and he found out that he had like a half brother from his dad like sleeping around like, and they were basically the same age, and they looked exactly. He eventually met him. They looked exactly the same and stuff, and it's like 23andMe and Ancestry.com have opened up a whole like host of Pandora's boxes around.
I don't
this
think
whole thing.
people realize how common infidelity is.
So
Like
mandatory paternity testing.
Well,
is a solution to this.
we get into some kind of heated debates with certain personalities about how common Mac and Murphy about how common like what extra pair mating is. And
yeah, I
shit
mean,
like
because we have paternity tests. I mean, it can't be that.
well,
high.
it's not even that. It's like the paternity tests. We've had paternity tests since the 70s, right? But
Probably
now we have
1980,
now we have social media And so now and I mean, you don't even have to go to a sperm bank to get a sperm donor. You can go on Facebook or wherever, and that's a real common problem. Well, no, it's Scandinavian country, in Denmark in particular, they're having a crisis because there's so many children that are being born by like one father because all the chicks choose that one guy because he's a rugby player or some shit like that, right?
I saw that. Was he a Danish guy? Like,
It's primarily Danish dudes. I'm like, God damn, my people, let's go.
A TLC show about that?
Yes, yeah. And so it's more. It makes me wonder, and I think this is really the point of contention is how common is it now that we know it's more like in our face now that we have more access to like seeing, oh, here's another case, right? Or the guy who the fertility doctor who took it upon himself to like impregnate like 1,000 women or something, and he's got 2,000 kids or something like that. And I always love rubbing that one in the faces of traditional conservatives and say, well, you guys said that if you want to repopulate the earth and like have more fertility, this guy's the ultimate alpha male, right?
Dude, there's this chick that went to my high school and she like banged a bunch of dudes. Like I think she had like over like 20 paternity tests.
Whole football team?
No, I mean, but I think they railed her too at one point. But
run a train, babe.
But it's like she like did all these paternity tests, and then she finds out the guy that is the baby daddy is in prison on a life sentence for murder.
Man, she should have roulette wheel a little bit better than that.
I mean, she deserves it.
She shouldn't.
Women like thugs.
Yeah, she definitely took a gamble.
No, that was karma.
She shouldn't.
That was karma.
Hey, as long as she's having fun, whatever.
As long as once she saw that life sentence, she got more attractive.
Yeah,
she's more attractive.
All right, here we go. This one.
Little face tat.
A man more attractive that has nothing to do with your looks is having attractive female friends. When women see you hanging out with attractive female friends, this basically pre-qualifies you. Other women start to get intrigued and ask themselves, what makes this man so special? Or why are they so comfortable being around him? Not only does it make you look more attractive, but it also makes you look like a safe option. This is why if you were ever to have a wing woman by your side when approaching other women, you're gonna notice that they're gonna be a lot more receptive to you.
It's true though. Take a bow.
Michael's been preaching this for years. Like, Michael, how long have we known each other? Like 2020, right? You've been saying this forever.
No, I've been getting crucified for this since 2008.
Yeah.
But it's true.
It's so, oh my God. If you just have a really hot wing girl, you meet the hottest girls, you get invited to the best parties. You get used to being around women. And when I first got in this space, everyone called me a bitch because I was saying this shit. And it's like, bro, you have no idea what you're talking about. Then they would see the photos of me with all these girls and the girls I was dating. And they're like, you're paying them. I'm like, no, I told you in the beginning, I have a bunch of hot female friends who introduced me to other women. And in fact, that's how I booked the girls on this show. And it's just so crazy to me. And now, I love Austin. I know I'm a fan of his stuff. He's a fan of my stuff. But actually having him say that, I was just like, finally, thank you. I mean, it took years for people to come to this grasp. Dan Bilzerian, he would throw these incredible Ignite parties. Greatest parties of all time I've ever been to is the Ignite parties he used to have at his house in Bel Air. And he had two girls. One of them was named oh gosh, I forgot her name. Monisha Didika was one, and I forgot the other girl's name, Bianca Gezi. And their job was to they weren't sleeping with Dan. Their job was to get girls to come to the party and actually sift out the ones that weren't attractive. That was their job. So using women to get other women to hang out with you has been something that guys have been doing forever. Same thing has happened with you, Hefner. This is just a very common practice. Guys who don't understand this concept, the reason why is they're like, no, I'm friends with that girl. She's going to friend zone me, and I look like a beta chump. No, when girls friend zone you, you do look like a beta chump. When you friend zone them, you do not. And guys can't understand the grasp. They can't grasp that concept because they're too Aspergery, they're too autistic, and they don't
got a touch of the
everything's black or white. The switch is either up or down, and they don't understand. No, if you friend zone a girl, it's totally fine. As opposed to a girlfriend zoning you. It's just one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
No, it opens so many doors when you have female girls around you all the time that are vouching for you, and they're like, I love that guy, I love hanging out with him, he's such a good dude, feel safe, connected. And then other girls, when you tell them that you feel safe around these guys, then they're more. It's your marketing department. Yeah, exactly. They're more apt to come and hang out because you have vouched for these guys, and you say.
Your job, if you're a guy and objectively you're a 4 out of 10, your physical attractiveness, you're a 4 out of 10. What happens is women will rate you as a 1 or a 2 in an unfamiliar environment. In a familiar environment, though, if you have a really good personality or other things going for you, you could be a 5, 6, 7, or 8. In fact, there's a study from TCU, I believe it's TCU who did this study, where it was like a man will be 2 points higher if she sees photographs of him with other women. So the guy will go from a 4 to a 6, and it turns out you're really fucking funny. Now you're maybe a 7 or an 8, but you've got her into a familiar environment. How'd you get into a familiar environment? Because you invited her over when you guys were going to do card night and drink tequila, but she didn't show up because you invited her. She showed up because 3 of her homegirls invited her. It was 4 girls who I was friends with in Mexico who introduced me to the girl who became my girlfriend. They texted me and be like, that girl you like is here, showed up, and they were all just bragging about me for half an hour before I showed up. Because that's what wing girls are supposed to do. Shout out to Alicia Barragan. Like, she was one of the girls who did it. Like, that's the thing. It's Max and Brittany Lee. Like, that's the way we met. If you ask her, she'll tell you that. That's the way it's supposed to work. Guys don't understand this concept, and because in general, this is the other difficulty I see. Men love women, but men love fucking women, but they don't like women in general. And what you'll find is the guys who I see who are really good with women.
Thank you, Aaron Clary.
Talk about like the guys who I see who are really good with women, like say Adam Sosnick. Myself, whenever I talk to Justin Waller about this, when I talk to you, our experiences with women are so positive that like we actually like women along with having sex with women. And because of that, if you guys want to see a great example of this, it's a fictional character, but look at David Duchovny playing Hank Moody in the show Californication. He loved women and he loved sleeping with women. And because he loved women, he was so much better with women than anyone else.
Drugs, though.
Wait, Michael, I have a question. So do you consider yourself a black belt with women?
I mean, don't say that too loud. Kylie, I love you. No.
Red belt.
We all love you, Kylie.
I don't have when I was single, I had no trouble at all. No.
So you were a black belt.
I would say, yeah, pretty good. Yeah.
So,
He's a sensei.
So you retired as a black belt. Okay.
Buddha.
Yeah, as a word, as far as marketing goes, also girls, if they know that, they also can be intimidated because they're like, oh, this guy's, he's not on the, like, if they're looking for the like stable like guy that's got low body count, have all these expectations, but they perceive you as, well, he's got game. So
I don't think women want guys with a low body count.
No, we don't. We
Well,
want
actually, not too low.
I don't think women care about that at all. Yeah.
No.
I mean, I'm kind of evidence of that. Like,
yeah, you are.
I used to be a porn star.
You need
And
experience.
you'd think like, because I hear the argument online all the time that like, oh, no woman would want a guy who's like a man whore or whatever.
Yeah,
I get that comment all the time.
But also, it's your job.
I mean, but that's kind of.
But it's also not true.
irrelevant.
It's also not true. Women do not care. If you were previously a man whore, they don't care at all.
It makes no difference whatsoever. And like all of my exes over the last like few years have all they've all known that was what I did.
Yeah.
And it like, if anything, they were like curious about it, but it never bugged them.
Probably turn them on more than anything.
How stable the girl is emotionally, and they're obviously secure, and they're
I've seen incredibly stable women with multiple master's degree date guys that used to be male VIP hosts that have been with 600 women. Like, I just don't, because again, Dr. David Buss does a study where he looks and sees about men and women. Do men care about women's body count? And the answer was yes, almost ubiquitous amongst every society. They were far more interested in a woman's body count than the other way around. When women asked, do you care about a man's body count? In Norwegian countries, they thought it was fucking weird if a guy was a virgin. If he had a low body count, they thought that was undesirable. So it's quite the opposite. I've just seen numerous examples. I know a bunch of guys here who are male strippers and are dating like super squared away women. It's just women, attraction cues for women. One of them is a man having confidence, dominance, whatever it is, and having a high body count doesn't take away from that.
Fucking a virgin's not fun though. It's like you do 2 pumps and it's like 3 pumps, and you're like, that's it.
That's hilarious. By the way, the stuff we were talking about.
We have
right
an expert witness
The
here.
stuff we're talking about right now about men coming off as players looking bad. That's not true. It's just not true. And women being the best wing women, being the best wingmen that you are, that's free game. Like, that's the most important part. You're getting this from this show, and you might not recognize it because you want us to like scream at women and shit. This is the part that makes you better. Like, you want to see the fucking yelling men and women yelling at each other. This is the
go to
part
whatever
where
podcast.
Yeah, for sure. If you want to actually get better with women, this is the part you need to listen to. Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was going to say is that as far as like the body count for guys, it's again, it comes down to pre-selection, comes down to social proof, comes down to competition anxiety, it comes down to all of these things are like I'm starting to see this more and more as I've been in writing what I've been doing for a long time, and I'm almost convinced there's like a holistic approach to, like, say, the red pill kind of stuff. So it's like when you look at pre-selection, when you look at social proof, when you look at competition anxiety, when you look at like a sense of urgency. Like if a woman wants to get with you that night, like you even said this at one point, and I'm going to bring it up again because I do this on every goddamn podcast with you. Now you even said like when a woman like wants to get sexual with you in a very short time frame, whether that's the same night lay or maybe like the day after or whatever like that, it's a compliment to you. Why did you say that?
Well, because a lot of guys they interpret like a woman sleeping with them on like the first date or whatever.
They think the women are as worried that they're considered, I'm too easy. But
well, like guys will say this. They'll say like, oh, that puts me off because like I think she's easy.
Those are guys who don't.
But they're the guys who don't
There's
fuck.
a case where the chick is easy though, and she has a high body count in that scenario too.
Well,
So
the way I always interpreted it was if a girl sleeps with me like really quickly, that's a smart girl.
Yeah,
she's good at like I mean, it sounds a bit arrogant, but like she recognizes a catch.
Exactly the same way. A girl sleeps with me on the first, like a girl may sleep with another dude and on the first date, she might be a slut. If she sleeps with me on the first date, she's smart. Like I totally agree with that. Like,
well, what if she doesn't work? Like, what if she has a tracker and not working out, where she's like a serial scenarios sleeping with guys?
Well, but the thing is, where I think women get this wrong, and again, I had a psychologist on here Wednesday. Often women would come to him and be like, I don't sleep with men on the first date because I slept with this other guy on the first date and it didn't work out. And he has to inform them. It's like, unfortunately, like, honey, the reason why it didn't work out wasn't because you slept with him on the first date. It didn't work out because you chose poorly. That's the reason why. Right. A lot of, like, I'm just letting you know, ladies, are there some guys out there that are hyper judgmental and will judge you for sleeping with them on the first date? It's fewer and fewer men than you would actually believe. Yeah. If you sleep with a guy on the first date and it doesn't work out, it's not because you slept with him on the first date. It's because other reasons, because the other insecurities that were brought up. Maybe you try to push it into a relationship too quickly, or you chose a guy who has too many options, and that's the reason why it didn't work.
The guys who are
his friends, or
the guys who are saying like the guys online who are saying like, oh, if she sleeps with you on the first date, like, she's a whore, you can't take her seriously, are the guys who women never sleep with on the first date.
Yes.
He's the guy who's never had that experience.
Yes.
So like he can't relate to like
they have no frame of reference.
Same thing. Yeah. Justin Waller, when he talks about gentleman game, a lot of like gentleman game works. You buy the flowers and open the door and take a girl to dinner who deserves it because she's giving you outrageous levels of genuine desire. Yeah. And the guys think that that's simply because they've never received genuine desire from an attractive woman. They never had a woman like a woman who wants to like literally crawl inside your head, be everywhere you are all the fucking time, cooking.
Say crawl somewhere
else. Cook and clean for you, take care of you, be the source of all, like a woman who is just like obsessed with you. If you have that girl deserves all the dinners, all the vacations. She deserves all of that because she did that for you, right? But because most guys have never experienced that, then they're like, oh, you open a door for a woman? Fuck that. Teach that 304 a fucking lesson. Like that's what they're like. What, bro? Like, are you serious?
Dude,
but then you realize if it's the right girl, I mean, it's not like
I'll hold the door.
Even if you have a lot of options and it's the right girl, it's like sometimes nice to treat a woman.
No, you should. Like if a woman did, like, no, my whole thing is if a woman deserves it, give her the world. But if she doesn't deserve it, you shouldn't. That's the whole point. Like, and by the way, don't be mean to her.
Somewhat sketchy after the fact. You got through that process.
I think you being like those gentlemanly things, like you can use as like a litmus test
for sure.
Because if like I open a door for a girl, how she responds to that, it tells me a lot about her.
Yeah, like a girl, like I opened the door for somebody one time and they were like, I don't need you to open the door for me.
Like
and
that.
I was like, huh?
I was saying,
like,
I'll let it shut in your face.
You're welcome. Whereas like somebody's just holding the door when you go,
yeah, but
thank you.
Like, if a woman did that, like, where's the mechanism for me to lead in a relationship or for us to even have a relationship?
You're not. You wouldn't even talk to her.
You've eliminated that mechanism. It goes back. Yeah, you've already eliminated. It's very simple. When a man on a first date starts saying, "I'm looking for a wife and kids," well, she just wanted to fuck it. That's not going to happen now. You threw that out the fucking door. Men should never be the ones mentioning what are we or this should be a relationship. That should always be women.
Are we official?
Isn't that like a red flag? The
A
what
huge
are we
red flag.
conversation?
Yeah, no, the what are we flag, the what are we conversation should just be from women. And a guy can then make the decision. If women are the gatekeepers, the women are the gatekeepers of sex, then men are the gatekeepers of relationship. Of
ideally.
Yeah.
Well, like what's
Practically
that phrase
not.
from My Big Fat Greek Wedding? They say like the man is the head of the house, but the woman turns the neck
Is the house
any way she wants.
Sure.
I think. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna
exclusive or not, and you have and you are being intimate, and you're doing all these things. You're dating this girl.
Don't worry about it, babe.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, the word exclusive to me is like, either it's like, you know what's going on. You don't need the classification or the clarity on that. Right?
Exactly.
I think while I agree with you, a lot of women will hear what you're saying and then be in a situation with you and then be like, what the fuck? I thought you understood we were together.
Well,
but you never had the discussion.
Yeah. Well, what if the girl's sleeping around in the middle of the process?
Yeah.
And then she's like, hey, I want to be exclusive. And you're like, hey, just
Bye.
let things play out. As you can see, we're in a situation and it's evolving, but
Well, would you want your girl to be hooking up with other guys like as you're getting to know each other? Obviously not.
no, that's
Yeah.
obviously not.
Most guys with options, if you're dating a girl and you want to settle down with her and you find out she's hooking up with several other guys, I'm just gonna be like, I have a different option. I'm just gonna choose a different option than this one. This is like, because I want genuine desire. And this is pretty undeniable at this point. Like women, when they cheat in a relationship, are far more likely to fall in love with their affair partner than men are. Sex, even Sadia Khan, she was talking about this one time, is like when men and women cheat, it's bad in both cases. But if a woman had a really good time with the person that she slept with, then it's going to be harder for her to come back into the relationship and to fix the relationship.
Because she'll feel like she's cheating on the guy that she was with.
If a man has a really great time having sex with some woman he doesn't care about, he can definitely come back to the relationship and everything can be repaired.
Yeah, for men it's just sex, but for women I feel like it's a lot different. Like you can just go have sex and like,
I debate that.
I know
really?
this,
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Go,
I mean, from my own experiences. Okay. I'm not saying that's
maybe you're an anomaly.
No, I mean, from my own experiences, like I've been in a relationship most of my life.
Mhm.
So like I've been single in my mid-30s, got divorced and whatever. And like kind of like maybe, I don't know, it's been like 8 years or something of being in a few relationships, but single for the most part, considering they weren't, in marriage
Like
or whatever.
situationships.
No, they weren't situationships. There's been a couple. I mean, right after I got divorced, I was in an 8-year relationship, and then the girl cheated on me in a certain point, and then got into another situation shortly after. Not shortly after, but within, But this girl was very persistent and very like dedicated to me dating her, and like created this whole facade of like, I'm in love with you and will do anything for you, and put on this big show. But the whole time, I'm starting to believe in it. Like, oh, this is the truth, like this girl, and starting to feel bad that maybe I'm, not necessarily giving this the chance that I should. I twisted and screwed up from my experiences.
Yeah.
And then I feel guilty, and I'm like, hey, maybe I should give her a chance.
One of the things, again, sometimes men have to do often is if women like you, you're going to disappoint them. Sometimes you need to learn that you're going to have to disappoint them. They're going to ask you to do things that take you off your path and purpose. If I took breaks as much as my girlfriend wanted me to, I wouldn't have a fucking business. All right. You're going to have to do things that disappoint them. That's just something. But going back to what I said before, I know there are probably women screaming at the TV when I said this, or screaming at their phone. When I said this before, 83% of the time women fall in love with their affair partner, which means 17% of the time women are just going out to fuck. And 30% of the time men fall in love with their affair partner, which means 30% of the time men do fall in love with their mistress. That does happen. But the majority of the time, men fall in love with their affair partner far less than women do.
That happened with me. My ex was cheating on me, and he actually ended up getting married to the girl he was cheating on me with.
Okay.
I'm not surprised. It happens a lot.
Sterling, was it you that said like every guy wants like an easy girl, but you want them to be easy for him?
Only easy
was
for
that you?
Yeah,
only easy for you.
Every guy wants a slut, but he wants it to be his.
Yeah,
slut.
dude. Look, again, one more time. If a girl sleeps with me on the first date, that makes sense. I have game. I totally understand.
Are you a
that
good
doesn't make any
girl?
sense. Like, but if a girl sleeps with some other dude, I think she's probably making a bad decision. I mean, it comes off as arrogant, but I know it's true.
I think it's a reflection of like the guy's self-esteem to like to that point. The guy who gets like the guy ick from a girl sleeping with him straight away. That guy's got no self-esteem, is my opinion, because he's like, he can't fathom a woman finding him that attractive that she would just go all out.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like
if
that.
If the girl, you're the anomaly and she sleeps with you on the first night, then great.
Yeah.
But if she's doing that with every guy, she needs incentives.
Well, the point Michael's trying to make is like, we consider ourselves to be the anomaly.
Yeah,
you hope you are.
just that. But like going back to what you were saying before, like I've seen that before, where it's like because she's saying all these things, she's promising me so much commitment. Now I feel guilty for not giving her the commitment that I want. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask about her past. I'm just going to ask her family. I'm going to say, you notice all her friends from high school don't talk to her anymore. All her friends from college don't talk to her anymore. All of her exes seem to hate her and think that she's crazy. But she says all of her ex-roommates are crazy. All of her ex-boyfriends are crazy. Like at some point, you're going to be like, wait a second. If you have 10 roommates and they all say that, you say that they're all fucking crazy, at some point, you're the one who's the problem. And so you come to these realizations. So you talk to the girl and you start saying, okay, how much stimulus does she need in order to feel validated? If I do everything for her and she still needs more stimulus, and all of her exes say that she's fucking crazy, at some point, it doesn't matter how much she tells me she wants to commit. At some point, I need to come to the realization that I'm dealing with somebody who says one thing and does something else. And that's a problem. That's a problem right there.
Was that rule number 6?
Rule number 1, we don't listen to the words. We only pay attention to people's actions. That's rule number 1.
We don't listen to the words.
Yep.
Which one do you want?
Let's do this one. Oh my God, you'll love this one.
Oh,
Shout out to Dave Martin.
Jesus
Comedian
Christ.
Dave Martin. We're going to have him on the show at some point. I like reacting to his videos.
Oh,
His videos
boy.
are fucking hilarious.
And I'll read the super chat right after this one.
It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call.
On the
We've been
on the
talking
call.
every day. You guys heard it from Doug's voice. We love Joe and Jill. We really do. They truly are like family to us. And we do. Everybody here does.
It's mutual.
I knew you were still there. You're not going anywhere, Joe.
I'm watching you, kid. I'm watching you, kid. I love you.
I love you, Joe.
I'm not buying it, Kamala, at all. What you talking about? Award goes to Kamala and Joe. Now, there's been some debate about, is Kamala Harris black? And I say she is not. Because Joe Biden ain't your husband, but he is your work husband. And no black woman who hasn't seen their partner for several days is going to accept a phone call. It's got to be FaceTime. Joe, show me where you at. Pan the phone around.
Love it. All right, ready? Is Joe Biden already dead? Ready? Let's go.
Yes.
Around the table. Is he already? No, what's going on? I'm just kidding. Good luck, Joe. Recover from that COVID, buddy. Make sure you make it out of there.
I think he is.
I don't care. I'm Canadian.
Yeah?
Well, I mean, look what the government has been doing though, like without getting you guys kicked off the platform. Anyone that has been paying attention and what happened to Trump and then with them trying to assassinate him and all of a sudden he gets COVID. The deep state's like, oh shit, we failed.
Maybe, yeah.
We fucked up.
I am really confused still at this point, how they let things get this far.
I think they put. I think they pulled a coup on Joe Biden.
They didn't have to pull a coup. He's got dementia. I don't think it's a coup.
Any
active government around a president who has dementia.
Making him resign. I'm pretty sure
They didn't make him resign. He's just not running again. He just decided to not.
The man
run.
has 2 brain cells.
Yeah,
What
but
do you
the
mean?
thing is, his entire party told him to not run again.
Yeah, but they've been hiding his mental illness for years.
Yeah, but I mean, isn't
Poorly.
it weird?
They've been poorly hiding his mental illness.
I mean, it's weird that he can't run for re-election, but he's still president. He hasn't resigned yet. So it's
Well, no,
what
he's
is going on?
Yeah.
Who is
Because it's the same thing Lyndon Johnson said. He goes, I'm going to focus on just being the president of the United States rather than running. That's going to be what his excuse is as opposed to resigning. But yeah, I mean, it's really an interesting situation that we let it get to this point. Everyone on the right side of the aisle was on social media saying, dude, can you see how out of it this guy is? He's walking around looking at ghosts and falling down. What's going on? What I thought was this must be just there must be cherry picking video. And then you see the debate and it's this is a disaster, but it's the worst I've ever seen.
It's elder abuse.
It is.
Yeah,
100%.
honestly.
You're toting your how old is he?
82.
You're
Man
toting
doesn't
your
even know where he
82-year-old
is.
grandfather around the country.
Dude, he shit his pants in France.
I don't know if that's true, but maybe he did.
Same.
He totally did.
I'm not at this
Isn't
point.
that a song?
I'm not trying. I'm not
Smart enough to be wearing his Depends or what?
I just like that it rhymed when you said it.
I identify as Dr.
You want to know something? I'm actually kind of disappointed because it's the home team's up 56-0 and they're going to kneel the ball for the rest of the fourth quarter. I was listening. We were talking about the whole thing with Not So Erudite. She's she wants to focus on politics. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Now you do.
What's left? There's nothing to focus on. It's over.
Yeah.
It's kind of over. We're 86% chance that President Trump's going to win. So I don't know what else there is to talk about.
Yeah, which is why everybody's having their fucking meltdowns right now. The thing that's got me that whole situation is they wanted to paint this shooter as being this incel. I called this the day after it happened. I said, you will see that this guy is 20 years old. Oh, we can't get in his phone, but we do know he was searching for porn right before he went up there and did what he did. He goes and has the foresight to go and drag a ladder up to this place. He would have had to drive the truck with the ladder in the back of the thing, carry it over there, get up there with a 5.56 AR, and with the site too.
Yeah,
the range finder,
yeah.
and the site and everything, and Krakow. How many shots?
I think he got
at
3
140 yards.
150 yards, yeah.
But he's an incel, so now that explains everything. So yeah, he's 20 years old. And he searched for porn right before he went on, and he's given money to, let's see, Act Blue and a whole bunch of these other NGOs and PACs that are Democratic PACs.
I feel like young people don't really understand politics properly right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think old people don't understand them either.
It's like when like
the time
I would say like my parents, like I'm from Canada, so it's different. But like when you're raised in a family that votes a certain way, you kind of stick with that, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then now, like with social media and stuff, people are thinking that they're generating their own opinions, but the media is so skewed sometimes, either one way or the other, where you don't really know what's going on. And so it's hard to form your own opinions.
Well, I grew up in California, and it's like I was leaning left. I was very liberal. Like I voted for Obama in 2012. And then I was registered Democrat when I voted for Donald Trump. Just because of the things I was seeing and like waking up. So by my education, my whole family's conservative. I was the only liberal. But by the education that I received and what I learned, you know, it's like it pulls the heartstrings. It also depends where you go to school too.
Do you think you're more conservative now?
Oh, hell yeah, I'm more conservative.
All right on. Like where I'm from in Canada, like we don't have conservative Democrats. Like we have liberal, like it's different. But like I would say where I'm from, it's in terms of American, it's a very conservative area. Like a lot of agriculture, oil, like blue collar work. So it's like I always say it's like the Texas of Canada, because it's like farms, agriculture.
Well, even your conservatives, we would consider liberal.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, in general. And by the way, Australia is the same way.
Exactly.
Like what you guys.
That's how Germany
also,
is like too.
Also in the you guys, like the level of laissez-faire government that we have in the United States is like our taxes are lower, and it's easier to start a company and to become rich in this country compared to the United Kingdom, compared to Australia, and compared to compared to
I'm gonna
Canada.
I'm gonna read this super chat because I feel like it's timely here. He says, "How do you feel about Bill Clinton's triple economics, tax cut, spending, and invest? Last time we were at a surplus."
I don't know. I wasn't born yet.
I remember this. I do remember us being in a surplus, but I don't know if it was simply because of that. I think the economy was starting to boost.
It's much different,
Maybe because of things that happened before the Clinton administration, and then he reaped the benefits of it.
And then he follows this up with $20 trillion in debt. Why is no president defaulting on it?
Well, defaulting on it or trying to pay it off. Those are the two things. So by the way, if we defaulted on it, that is the quickest way to start World War III.
Yeah, I was about to say.
You want to talk about like because one country, the only country that has an even viable military next to ours, owns all of our debt. That's the reason why.
Yeah.
You know, that's part of where that's going to happen.
Oh, and why are they flying bombers over Alaska right now? Captain Michael Sartain.
So every year, every year, so I was part of this thing called Red Flag. We have a red flag here in Nevada. And then there's also a red flag in Alaska every year. But basically, it's just like a pickup 5-on-5 basketball game with all the Air Force and Navy guys. They get together, and then they have red air and blue air. The red air are the aggressor squadrons. These are people who legitimately, they're there to antagonize the blue air, which are like young lieutenants who are learning how to fly their F-22s, their F-15s, their F-16s, and those different type of aircraft, KC-135s, KC-10s. Every year when we do, and I've personally been a part of this, every year when we do red flag in Alaska, the Russians will fly over neutral territory. I think it's B-21 Blackjack. I forgot what they have their heavy bombers, and they have some of their fighter jets, and they'll come just right up to the border of Alaska. And the reason why they're doing that is they're trying to see how quickly the United States responds. They're trying to gauge U.S. response time against there. And they also did it because at Elmendorf in Allison Air Force Base, they have F-22s, and they wanted to be able to see if they could paint F-22s with their color weather radar or with their long distance radar or whatever. It's basically the Russians do this every single year, and every single year the media gets a hold of it and says Russians flying jets over Alaskan airspace with Chinese bombers,
Yes.
whatever. And guys, I'm telling you, this happens every single year. Please look it up. Historically, this happened when I was there in 2010. I believe I was in Elmendorf in Allison Air Force Base. I believe, or Elmendorf Airport. I forgot if it's Elmendorf or whatever, the one that's up in the northern part of Alaska. And I was there, I remember it was 40 degrees below zero. And they do this every fucking year, and it's not a big deal. The Russians are just trying to.
It makes for a great election cycle
story
when your president is not running and has dementia.
Yes.
But what about the balloon?
Huh?
What about the red balloon? The Chinese spy balloon.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with the Chinese spy balloon idea is like, do you know how many Chinese citizens live in the United States that could just get the same information from just walking around with a phone? It's not like, do you understand? There's like millions of Chinese citizens that live in this country. Millions. They're like the idea that they needed a fucking weather balloon. I'm sure they launched it, but it's like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, it's one of the things when I was worked in counterintelligence, one of the things we talked about is like, you have students from other countries living here, and they're literally being paid by their government, or they're being told by their government to spy on the Americans.
Yeah.
Like, they do it all the time. That's what happens in a free country.
I mean, I
It's
think
not like
there's
it's
bigger.
anything new.
I mean, aren't there bigger problems with Chinese and Huawei installing
Yeah,
cell towers?
for sure.
Near,
That's a way bigger
bases
difference
and,
than a fucking
bigger than balloon.
balloon. Do you want to know what a Chinese person could do instead of flying a balloon? Come into the United States on a fucking visa on vacation, go to a store, buy a DJI drone, and just fly it over the same area anytime they wanted, and no one would say shit to them.
Didn't it go over like the military bases?
You could do that with a DJI. You could do that with anything. There's no reason you don't need a fucking balloon for that. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying the balloon thing wasn't nefarious. I'm just saying it's not that big of a deal. We live in a free country. This is not us getting into North Korea. Chinese people can come here all they want. If a Chinese person wanted to buy the fucking Chrysler building, we'd be saying how much. Nobody. We are whores when it comes to money in this country.
Whores.
Did you do
Yeah,
guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you did not know, the Jacksonville Jaguars are owned by a Pakistani man. Yes, the fuck they are. Yeah, guys, you are just completely out of. People are just completely fucking out of touch. Like, we don't give a shit in this country. We have a golf tournament that is completely run by the Saudis. We don't care. Like, if you give us money in the United States, we will sell you anything. In other countries, if you're not a citizen, you can't go there. Like, I have friends of mine that go live in the UK, and there's like certain loopholes they have to go through before they can buy property. In the United States, you don't even have to have a fucking work visa. We will let you buy any. If you want to spend money in the United States, we will bend over and say, thank you, sir. How much?
Can I have another?
Fuck in this country.
Yeah, you
That's
invest
true.
in something, you can get your entrepreneurial visa. Like,
Yeah, dude, by the way, you can trade U.S. equities. We don't care what citizen, we don't care what country you're from, but it doesn't work the other way around. You can't do it the other way. In the United States, we do not give a shit. If you have money, money is green, and it all speaks the same language to us. So this idea that the Chinese are sitting there like fucking spying on us, they can spy us anytime they want.
Everybody spies on us. but-
Huh? You know what the Chinese could do? They can literally go on YouTube and watch a video of a drone flying over the same military base. That's how open we are in this country. Nobody stops shit here. Like, literally, can you imagine? Like, you want to go see where Premier Xi Jinping lives? Go into his house as an American citizen? Do you know how ridiculous that would be? That would never fucking happen. Chinese people do it all the time. They go to the White House and take fucking photos in the Oval Office, and nobody says shit. That's the way it is. Like, the idea that you're spying on Americans. What are you spying on? Like, people have known for years how to build an F-22. They just can't do it because we have more money than them. That's the way it works. That's it. There's no way they could ever afford to do that. That's why we're the only country in the world with Blue Water Navy and stealth technology. Anyway, sorry.
Hey, I want to set this one up real quick. I'll get to yours and just say I got this one that we didn't get to last week, and I really want to do. So everybody, certainly pretty much everybody at the table here is familiar with the stats that women divorce men at the rate of 70%, like initiate divorces, right? Well, so whenever I'm asked about this, people will say, well, that's because men aren't carrying their weight, or it's always some guy's fault for the fact that, well, women wouldn't have to file for divorce if you guys would just fucking act right. Right. Okay. There's one other, and I wasn't aware of this until just this, I saw this video. There's one other possibility here. And this is what it is. So have a look at this.
70% of divorces that happen over 40 are initiated by women. Okay, why is that? Well, as she loses these hormones, there are so many brain changes that are happening. And because she doesn't understand herself, she thinks it's your problem. She thinks it's her teenage kid's problems. She thinks it's her aging parents' problem. She thinks it's work's problem. She doesn't go, oh, okay, wait, I've got some neurochemical changes going on in my brain that I need to make sure that my lifestyle supports. Since that conversation isn't open, she turns on everybody else. For years, I had so many women that came into my clinic and they said, whatever you do, please help me stay out of my doctor's office. And I was like, why? because they don't understand me. And when they don't understand me, all they do is give me an antidepressant. And I feel so lost in what I'm supposed to do to help my own brain health, help my own body health. And we start dishing out supplements and prescriptions when there's a lifestyle that women are working against.
Listen, I've heard this a million times. If you guys ever want to hear this argument, so because 70% of divorces are initiated by women, I hear the same thing.
And also, and I thought this was interesting demographically speaking, because it's like what me and Joe Marin are doing right now. And thank you, James Sexton, for making me aware of this, is that the average age of first divorce for women is like 41 or 42. For men, of course, it's like 3 years older than that, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't really think about that from a biochemical perspective, rather than just, of course, everybody jumps to the conclusion and says, well, if men weren't just such sons of bitches and they would change the baby's diapers and do some laundry and do some fucking dishes now and then we wouldn't be filing for divorce. No, your neurochemistry is off at that point, especially if you've been on birth control for as long as you have, and you're on antidepressants, as she was saying here before. What's happening with it's mood altering. It's mood altering drug.
So if men were ostensibly the problem, what you would find is in gay marriages, you'd have a higher divorce rate than in lesbian marriages, because apparently men are the problem. They're not carrying their weight and they're very bad partners to be married to. That's what you'd see. And then lesbian relationships, because women apparently aren't the problem, they should stay in relationships longer. And
well,
then,
isn't the abuse rate in lesbian relationships
we'll get to that in a second.
Oh, okay.
So when we look at the numbers, what do we find? It's 3.5 times more likely lesbian relationships end in divorce. So even when women don't have men to blame, they're still getting divorced. This is the problem. Like, this has been done and dusted. Women will get into a point in the relationship where men will not do anything different and they'll still want to get out of the relationship. And it goes, when you think about it from an evolutionary perspective, which one of the two genders is going to be more picky? The gender that has to gestate a child for 9 months and then stay with that child for 18 years, women have more parental investment. So they're more picky, but that pickiness will last all throughout the marriage. And then at some point, then like he says before, they'll have a neurochemical hormonal change. And then they'll be like, okay, I just don't want to be in this marriage anymore. But he didn't do anything wrong. But she's going to say afterwards, she needs to say, okay, there's changes in me. I feel different about him. So he must have done something wrong. Instead of saying, hey, men don't have menopause. We don't have the same thing that happens to us.
Wasn't there studies saying that like men do go through?
We don't have
some
menopause.
kind of
What we do is our testosterone levels drop, and then we get fatter. And as we get fatter, the testosterone then get aromatizes, and then we have more.
It's a gradual decrease.
Yeah,
it's like that's 30 we start, so it's not
it's
like
like
a cliff.
It's like 1% per year. But when you start to see the massive change, and I've said this before, like when you see morbidly obese people, the problem is that all the testosterone their body produces are aromatizes to estrogen. Okay. And that's good. So now you have a normal functioning 45-year-old man, 55-year-old man, and his body is producing so much estrogen that like his neurochemicals change before. And then you see him out there like chanting at the Pride parade, big old fat dude with blue hair. That's where you get that guy. That's where he comes from. It's because of the fact his body's producing massive amounts of estrogen. And so it's not quite the same thing as.
But even if you're
menopause.
taking tests, like even if you're taking too much and you are working out and you're doing the stuff, can't you still be taking too much tests that your body still starts producing estrogen?
Yes, you can take a blocker for that. So generally what some guys will say is take a blocker. What other guys will say is reduce the amount of testosterone your body is taking, or reduce your body fat to the point where your body's not producing extra estrogen. Yeah.
So like what's your ideal body fat if you're doing tests?
8%.
8? I thought it was 9.
That's what I'm headed for.
I would say below 14. Yeah.
Okay,
14 or lower. Yeah, I would say that's
because the average is like what? Like 20 to 30, I think, for most people.
I don't know what the average is, but it's pretty high.
Yeah.
It's too high. Yeah.
Especially in America, probably.
Or get off your ass and maintain your physical livelihood, and your body will keep producing dust.
Yeah, it will. But some people it just won't in general, and some people it won't when they're older. But it doesn't go up. It goes down over time.
The average body fat percentage in the United States is around 28.1% for men and 39.9, almost 40% for women.
What?
No, it's crazy. A lot of American people are fat because it's like whenever I went into Europe and I told them I was from America, they're like, "You're from America. Why aren't you fat?"
Yeah, that's funny you should say that. I remember.
It's like
yeah.
Lindsay Lohan, like, so you're from Africa. Why are you white?
I was.
That's why are we fat?
Today, actually.
That you reminded me of a story. When I worked in wine and spirits, and I used to go to these distilleries. One of the rum distilleries I used to go to was in Panama, and I would go there with there's Americans and there were the Dutch that I was with, right? And I remember having some very good looking Panamanian women go and say, "Oh, are you Dutch?" And I'm like, "No, I'm American." She goes, "Oh, you don't look like an American."
Yeah.
And I go, I'm like, "What does American look like?" You go, "Like that guy. This dude was this big belt buckle." And I was like, "Oh shit, no, I guess I'm Dutch." Yeah, it was funny as shit.
Just say you're Canadian.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, what did you want?
He goes like,
politics
nah.
lately, kinda
No,
freedoms
Canadian
and,
politics are just as messed up as American politics right now. Trudeau is out now. I'm pretty sure Polyev is gonna win.
God, finally. All right, here we go.
Conservative.
Thank you for a video. Are you happy?
Am I happy?
Yeah, are you happy?
Not really.
Why not? Well, you seem like a healthy individual, good-looking guy. You probably play sport. What sport do you play?
I ran track and field in college.
Okay.
I tore my shoulder, so I had to retire.
No competitive sports right now?
No competitive sports.
And did the shoulder heal?
No, I probably 50% strength of what it used to be.
Really?
Yeah.
So, what do you do now? Why aren't you happy?
I don't know, man. I just feel like I moved to Miami 4 months ago, and I just feel like the pace of life is so fast that I just feel like I wake up and the day's over.
Yeah.
You know, I don't feel any sense of accomplishment in my days, really.
Yeah.
I do medical device sales and I model full time. And
Really?
I don't know. It's cool, but like I said, I just don't feel any sense of accomplishment, I guess.
You have that shoulder correctly, dude.
Yeah. The point is in the comments for this one. If you guys want to check it out, it's just a bunch of women I'll save him. Can I help him? It's he goes, "I just model and I just do medical sales." It's just really funny. The reason why that was funny, if you guys want to look at the original video, is just read the comments from women. It is hilarious. How many of them are just "What can I do to save you?" It's "Oh, it's okay, baby. Everything will be fine. I'll help your shoulder."
That's a cop out, man. I've had 28 surgeries and I've rehab myself.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's a lot of things. It is really interesting. I started doing cold plunge. I started doing sauna. I started doing BPC 157 and TV 500 and all these different things. And it's just I'm out there playing basketball and defending guys who are half my age. And there's ways out there of being healthy, older in age. That's not what the video was mainly about, but you're right.
Yeah,
it's
that's the way I interpret it is okay, first thing was the cop out.
But it was just really funny. It's the girls didn't see that. The girls just saw this guy's so good looking, and it's I want to help him out. It was just really funny, man.
Poor little wounded bird.
I can fix him.
Yeah, I can fix it. That's what they were all saying is I can fix it.
It's funny. It's funny, because they probably started out very seriously. Are you happy? That. They probably were asking a bunch of guys. This was the one that stuck because it's the good-looking kid, right?
Yeah.
But I wonder how many people they asked that, and it was some ugly dude or some fat chick or something like that. Or no, I'm not really happy. Blah blah blah. Nobody cares.
Yeah, everyone cared that he was sad because he was good looking. But in general, you're the idea of pitting your way into sex is ridiculous. And I see so many men trying to do it. It's really really funny. Can we do this one right here?
Yep.
I keep sitting on my
Feminist man, I think toxic masculinity is so destructive for a culture.
I wish all men were feminists like you.
Here's that check for you, sir. Sir? Do not assume my pronouns. How dare you assume that because I'm a man that I'm going to be paying for this whole dinner? Women are fully capable of paying for themselves.
You want me to split the bill between you two?
Leave the entire bill. She will pay for the entire thing because she is an independent woman who does not need a man to provide for her. As a feminist woman, wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, I guess.
Here's the check, ma'am. I'm sorry. Canceled.
Oh my god, this is expensive. Give me a book! Matt, are you gonna help me?
As a feminist man, I don't want to imply that you can't defend yourself because you're a woman.
Are you serious?
You're just as capable of defending yourself as a man. As a feminist woman, wouldn't you agree?
Can you at least call the police?
The police. We need to defund those racist pieces of shit. Hey, bitch. Long time no call. Johnny sucked it.
Long time no
Your little boy told I used to have some wild nights down in West Hollywood.
You know boys town? No, I don't know.
Sucks for you. Sucks for me. Oh.
Are you gay?
As a feminist man, I'm sexually fluid, even within a relationship. As a feminist woman, wouldn't you agree with that?
This.
I like this look. Johnny, wait up! Sorry, across the restaurant. Give me that.
Okay, shit. What is this? What the hell is this?
What the hell?
All right. I don't know if you guys thought. I mean, obviously that kind of describes itself. It's like she. You like this video? What do you think about it?
I love it. She's in the liberal wig.
Yeah.
And the West Hollywood reference.
She pulled the feminist. He pulled the feminist Uno card. The feminist reverse Uno card.
You're an independent woman. You can pay for yourself.
Yeah, my
right?
favorite getting robbed because you're perfectly capable of defending yourself. I'm not going to infantilize you. That's pretty funny. What do you think?
I loved it when she threw the wig in his face. And
he
then,
puts it on.
Yeah, he puts it on, and then the gay with the guy with the rainbow bit gets his ass slapped.
Well, you guys have heard about that girl? I think she did like a Vice interview or something, and she talks about she went on Tinder like 100 Tinder dates in a row and like got her dinner paid for like 100 days in a row. And I'm like, girl.
Yeah, I can't imagine why he said women objectify men. I can't imagine where that comes from.
Yeah, you're just a walking wallet with a wiener.
Dude, it feels like it sometimes.
Yeah, she was out on 100 Tinder dates. I stand up my dates to hang out with my dog.
100 Tinder dates. Can you imagine her pH balance after that?
Oh, kind of have that.
Can you imagine? That's Brittany Renner shit right there.
That's not no sexy fish no more.
Yeah. Beautiful. You want to do this one?
Yeah, let's do this.
The majority of really wealthy people have long-term relationships and are in a monogamous relationship. They're married because the team is a fantastic way to build wealth.
But if the stats are true and whatever percent of people are getting divorces, doesn't that mean that if I'm building wealth, there's a 50-odd% chance that I'm going to lose half of it if I'm married or more?
Well, first off, if you have wealth going in, get a prenup. But what I would say is, and first off, that number is a bit misleading because marriage is becoming a luxury item. It used to be 95% of wealthy people got married and 85% of middle class and poor people got married. It's dropped to less than half among poor people. The bottom line is no one wants to mate with poor men. And wealthy people attract a lot of mates. And generally speaking, really wealthy people, I mean, there's all this, it's fun to do TikToks about Jeff Bezos on a yacht with his new girlfriend and everything. But the majority of wealthy people are actually stay married. And the team is really powerful. We're both working together. We're both making a lot of money. That is really powerful and sharing one set of expenses. You're going to focus on the logistics of our life or our family, and my wife's the professional baller, right? The team is powerful. So this notion that you shouldn't get married, or I'm not suggesting that marriage is for anybody or stay married no matter what. I'm not suggesting that at all, but there's just no getting around it. The team is much more powerful than the individual. And if you break down the numbers of people who are wealthy, they generally speaking invest a lot in their relationships. Wealth is a whole person project. There's a myth that rich people are bad people. The Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, the billionaires crawled over other people to get there. It's just not true. What you generally find among wealthy people, especially people who've made their own money, one of the reasons they're wealthy is they've collected allies along the way. And just as compounding is so powerful with small investments when you're young, bringing some generosity to people when they need help, being a good friend, occasionally checking in, how are you doing, helping people find jobs when they lose a job, being kind, those little investments you make as a young person really add up.
Yeah, this is great. Professor Galloway, I'm a big fan of his. And one of the things he talks about here, there's a couple things, a lot to unpack. I teach a networking course. Collecting people along the way is absolutely true. I try to do as many favors as I can for people and ask for nothing in return. And if I care about somebody, I try to solve problems for them. But the other part that I noticed that I really enjoyed is he's one of the people, he's probably the lead guy decrying that there's a crisis in dating. And he says, nobody wants to marry broke men. It really is true. It's like as women get access to more men that they can see on social media and on dating apps, they start to select for this smaller and smaller group of men up here at the top. And then broke men become less and less desirable. And there was another study I saw where they were going over what is the most likely outcome, what is the most likely symptom to cause a man to not have sex in the last year. And one of the highest precipitators of that was a man being unemployed or underemployed, which means hypergamy is real. When men don't make that much money, it doesn't mean that poor men don't. We all know a guy who's a male stripper who sleeps on the couch who fucks a bunch of girls. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. What I am saying, though, is like, in general, if you want to talk about things that cause women to like not be interested in men, it's like when they can't afford anything. And as more women get to see images of these hyper successful men, they become even less interested in those men at the bottom. And that's what he's talking about there. He says marriage is a luxury. And more than half of poor people now don't want to get married. And the marriage rate for women is at an all-time low.
well, marriage rate for people in general is an all-time low. Right now we're at 6.1 per 1,000. It's the lowest rate in
Holy.
recorded history for the United States.
They're also talking about like babies being like the lowest, like on
Fertility
record.
rate,
For
yeah.
the fertility rate, just because of the inflation and how much like everything is costing. Because it's like people are choosing like, hey, do I want to live or do I want to support a child?
Well,
I can't really
thing
support.
is-
People are
thing
doing
is
the
it's-
2 income, no children.
It's not so much a financial decision because the fertility rate has been below replacement level in the United States since 1975. The time to bang the gong about this was back in the 70s when everybody was having a good old time at Studio 54. Okay, and the reason for that is because of one invention, which is hormonal birth control, which spiked the divorce rates and it separated men and women. It's technology killed marriage. It wasn't fucking feminism. It was technology. Okay. So moving into the 70s, what happens when women go get divorced? They're going to need to have bank accounts. They're going to need lines of credit. They're going to need to be like strong, independent women. Right. And so they become the men that they wanted to marry. And by the way, that's not a Rollo Tomasi line. That's a Gloria Steinem line from 1970. So this has been around for quite some time. If we're going to talk about marriage rates, we're going to talk about fertility rates. They're all connected. They're all correlated together. And they all trace back to 1 year, 1965, which is when hormonal birth control became popularized at that time. Women no longer have to be married. So what happens? The divorce rate spikes for a little while, and then it falls off because the marriage rate is also falling off to the point where we are in 2024, which is at 6.1%. Now, I just celebrated my 28-year anniversary with my wife last week. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
And I will tell you right now, it's a lifestyle choice is what it is, okay? One of the things that I would strongly disagree with Scott Galloway and other people as well, mostly tradcons bring this up. They say, well, you go get married because you'll be richer. You'll be happier. No, happiness is a subjective, relative. You can't quantify happiness, and I really wish we should just throw this bullshit away about trying to make happiness a metric of the success of your fucking life. Because happiness is an emotion, and happiness is a proximate outcome, not an ultimate outcome. And that's why women are on antidepressants, because we've sold them for years and years and years that it's some sort of sustainable goal state, and at some point we're all going to be just optimally happy, and we'll never have any bad feelings ever come in on us ever again. Well, yeah, if you take SSRIs, I'm sure that's probably going to happen. So we have the medical way of.
I wonder if Scott Galloway is referring to marriage when he was growing up.
More that probably
like something closer
but
to
you have
that.
to be realistic about this shit, because I mean, we're talking about this, like I've been writing about this since like the mid 2000s. Married people make more money because they have to make more money. Otherwise, they're not married anymore. The number one precipitator of divorce is a woman starts to make more money than the guy does. Maybe they start at parity, and then she gets an increase in pay, or she gets a promotion at work. That guy falls off, and now because she's around guys who make more money than their husband, and now they're told that they're supposed to be in some sort of egalitarian, equalitarian marriage where it's 50-50. Well, it's not 50-50. If she's here and he's down here, guess what? He falls off and she goes because hypergamy kicks back in. And the problem with this is like we're still clinging to this old 20th century ideal of what we think marriage ought to be in the 21st century, dealing with these realities on a daily fucking basis. And so when people say, well, you're going to make more money, you're going to be more happy, you're not going to, it's like, no. You're making more money because you have to make more money. And if you don't make more money, you are officially not married. And so therefore unmarried divorced people are less happy and not making as much money because they're no longer married. That's why.
I feel like this goes way back to the beginning of our conversation when we were saying like people glamorize sex work. People glamorize marriage.
Oh yeah.
To the point where they're like, oh, I want the white picket fence. I want to like have a husband, have children, blah, blah, blah.
Institution.
Yeah. It's like definitely like you're raised to want that kind of lifestyle, right? That you're like white picket fence,
what your mom had, what your grandpa
family,
had,
home, like all that stuff.
Well, I'd kind of disagree with that. I'd say that women are raised to glamorize, like they look at marriage as not like a commitment and like a long-term relationship.
They want a wedding, not a marriage.
Bingo. They look at it as like the wedding is now this like ego glorification ceremony for the woman. It's got nothing to do with like the actual process of being in a relationship.
Or the sacrifices that she needs in order to stay in the wedding. Because now
Sterling, you're putting it in terms of like that's like a proximate goal. Okay, it's here and it's gone and it's done, right? in an ultimate sense, women marry a man. They don't marry the man, they marry a lifestyle. If that guy can provide a particular lifestyle that is better, or it's more glamorous, or has more prestige, or has something else, if that guy has a lifestyle that she wants to be in his frame, right? If he wants to enter into his frame, that if they eventually, you know, they'll fall in love with the guy, because not necessarily because of the lifestyle, but hopefully that's how
becomes
it
fond.
But the reason why they get married in the first place is because that guy can provide a lifestyle that she wants to participate in, she wants to be a part of.
I mean, there's so many variables in the intention for getting married and the outcome of marriage, you know, and a lot of it depends on where at in the country you live too. You know, each state has its own set of rules.
And ethnic,
it's like in California, a prenup or a postnup or a QNUP trust or whatever.
Or even arranged marriages, like in other countries.
But in California, you know, if you're successful and you're marrying, you know, your kid's mom and you want to be a stay-at-home mom or whatever, you know, your prenup is only as good as her word of signing it. Because the attorney's smart, they're going to drain you out for all your money.
We really need to get you on.
California will, because you guys can pay 13% more in state
I'm just
income
saying,
taxes.
like, you can think you protect yourself all day long, and every state's different. But I know in California,
we need to get him on with James Sexton. What we need to do.
They don't
stand
in
any
court.
weight
Yeah,
value.
I have a question. Did you live and learn? That's why you said that.
Yeah, so I know trust law very well, and I can protect anybody. I know the
He knows
maritime
the,
laws.
He knows the rules.
Yeah, I built my own trust and studied trust law for many years, and
especially
there's ways
if you
out
have
of
kids.
it. I love my family and my ex-wife and my kids very much, you know. But yeah, I mean, you have to learn a lot, especially if you're practicing yourself. And you know, and this happens a lot where guys have worked their whole lives and get drained out in their lack of knowledge, and the attorney's knowledge of their lack of knowledge and their state and how much it's worth, and you know, it becomes a thing where you get preyed on by attorneys that are collaborating behind the scenes and looking at your value of your state and basically draining you down to a situation where you have to get into a mediation, and you know, you basically tap out based on the fear of being broke, and the attorneys win and you lose, and so because it becomes an ego battle.
So you'd rather settle.
You should become friends with your partner in the midst of the divorce immediately and say, hey, if you're not smart.
That's interesting because that also keys on what Scott Galloway was saying. He's like, oh, you know, rich, wealthier people stay together longer. They stay married. I'm like, yeah, because they have to. It's cheaper to keep her instead of like going through.
Well, like how many people do you know growing up that their parents stayed together just for them? Like I have a bunch of friends that parents were like that, and then as soon as they got into university, their parents were like, boop.
Yeah, well, that's great divorce.
I think that's why porn has probably saved more marriages.
There it is. That's my girl.
Remember, guys, don't stick
that?
your dick in crazy. No matter what they say. Remember, guys, don't stick your dick in crazy, number one. And number two, you can go ahead and marry that girl with a fat ass, but you will pay for it in the end. Maybe. So just be careful. All we want you guys to do is be informed. That's the
know
only
what
thing.
you get yourself into, because there's, you know, I mean, if you want to be married to a woman and she loves you and you guys love each other very much.
Yes.
Yeah, I tell you,
I don't need a piece of paper to tell me that I love somebody.
I gotta throw this one out there before we close this show, because I've never done this before. I was gonna do a soft launch with me and my wife Missy, right? And on Instagram, it's 28 years. I said, hey, is it okay if we did that? She goes, well, I'll post a picture with you on here if you want to do that. I'm like, how about we do this? You know, we set up this whole thing. You saw the picture. If you see my Instagram, it's up on my Instagram right now.
Cute.
And everybody's like, oh my God, is that? And I'll tell you, man, if it was the most like, everybody loved it or everybody just hated me.
Your wife is hot, man.
Yeah, she's all right. But the funniest thing about the whole thing was like just the amount of vitriol you get and the intensity of like, dude, how did you do that? How, you know, tell me how you maintain this?
Because I'm Rolo.
Exactly. And then of course that's what I say is like, yeah, well, it's because I attribute a lot of it to sort of my red pill awareness, my writing and everything else. And people just simply don't want to hear that. They just want it to be some sort of like little magical, you know, fairies came and sprinkle dust over.
They want it to be like a quick fix magic pill. They want it to be something they have to do consistently every day.
Well, that's why I said it's a lifestyle choice. And like when I got married with my wife, it's like we weren't rich. We were certainly not what Scott Galloway is saying. You know, it's like we didn't. You know, I mean, I had a degree. She had her, you know, her job as well. And so, but we didn't get married for money. God forbid, I fucking had nothing at that time. So, but it was, you know, I think that I attribute the success of me being able to raise my daughter because we're just been so tight for 28 years right now. And my daughter will, you know, come and tell me like, oh, I love my parents so much because we're still together, right? And a lot of her, like I would say probably at least 90% of her friends' parents aren't together anymore.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to that. Like, I'm really lucky that my parents are still together, and like they love each other so much, and I see how much they love each other, and I've seen that growing up. So it's like a very good representation of kind of the kind of a relationship.
So
that
like
I want.
when like you'll hear this all the time. It's like when they'll say, "Well, if you're gonna vet for a woman, you got to see what her relationship is with her father." No, you need to see what the couple are. They still together?
Because I
and what the relationship is.
Where like the mom has passed away and she was raised by her father, and people are like, oh, she's obviously got like or
Daddy
vice
issues,
versa.
mommy issues, blah blah blah. No, you need to look at the interaction between the parents.
Yeah, and if like let's say your spouse passes or your parent's spouse passes away, and you're still able to have like a good relationship with the parent, and they respect the other parent that has passed away, that shows like a lot of integrity.
Exactly. Okay, let's wrap.
Awesome.
We got to get these guys home.
Show, man.
This was wild, man. Crazy.
Did you know what you were getting into? No, you didn't.
All over the place.
I was like, hey, just
we
come on the
recommend
show.
people watch before. This is super tame compared to the other ones.
The girl you came with is gone, but you guys stuck around. Bravo. All right.
Thanks for having us.
I was intense. You know, there's a lot of things I wanted to maybe have an opinion or comment on, but they were sensitive to some of my experiences. So I was like, okay, you know, I mean, it taught me a lot, but at the same time, I had opinions, but I was like, maybe I should.
There's no judgment here.
Men and women are different, and that's okay. But to some people, it's.
I just talk out of my ass all the time.
Psychax likes to talk. He said saying the quiet part loud. Men and women are different, and that's okay. But to some people, it's not okay to talk about it. And so that's where a lot of people get bent out of shape with shows like this. But you guys know, I mean, especially any of the girls who've been on here, there's no animosity between us and any of the girls. We certainly don't hate women. And we're doing often when we give some of the advice we give it because we care about the women that come on the show as friends. But it gets misconstrued because when we say men and women are different, that means men are better and women are worse. That's not what we're saying. No one's saying that. We have different places. But the idea that men and women aren't different, what happens is now men can't transcend their problems with pornography, problems with being obsessed with a woman's physical appearance. That's one of the worst reasons to marry someone is just because of their physical appearance. And women cannot transcend the fact that they happen to be addicted to the bad boy. They do like toxic relationships and they chase after men that other women are attracted to, because if they don't admit that they do that, they can never move past it. And they keep living in this world of cope where it's like, no, I'm only dating Brock and Kyler because we have chemistry and because we have a good vibe and because he's a Sagittarius. No, you like fuck boys and you have a problem and you can't get through it, but you'll never get through it until you admit that it's a problem. Does that make sense? Shout out to Kyler and Brock and Chad and all these other guys.
I was going to say, like, even
Chris Brown.
Even the girls who hate us, we still love them. Shout out to
women's
Jamie
are the
Lynn.
best thing
We can all agree that we love women at this table.
Women are the best. So.
They are. Agreed.
Wasn't for men, we wouldn't be here.
Miss Pacino, what do you think?
I love being
Pachinko, Miss Pachinko, what do you think?
Pacino. Well, you know, I me and Al, I called up his boys in the movie, and I had him taken out, stole his last name, but no, I had a great time as always. Like
Yes, those are hoop earrings.
Yeah, hoop earrings. So I
Bigger the O.
Yeah, and bigger the Bitcoin wallet.
Yeah.
So I said that bigger the Bitcoin wallet because I'm like, hey, you know what they say about bigger the hoop? No, I had a lot of fun. It was cool. It was nice to see Sterling as always. You guys. It was pretty cool to sit next to a video game character I played when I was like, growing up.
Nice.
By the way, I played Tony Hawk 1 through 4. Both the Undergrounds and Wasteland. That's the one game that bonded me and my cousins. So it's pretty cool.
No, I always love being here. I really like you guys, like hanging out. It's always good to see you. Love coming down to Vegas. And
What do you think of the new studio?
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah,
I like this
yeah.
place. It's like a different vibe. It's more comfy for sure.
I think so.
Less pressure. Yeah, I love it. I appreciate you guys. I like being on here.
It's great. It's a pleasure as always. Good to be back in Vegas, and the studio is great. Well done, guys.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I think of this view.
Yeah,
we got a balcony out there.
We got a balcony there later. Yeah.
Very nice.
Sterling, you sound so proper when you're angry.
When I'm angry.
Your face started turning a little red like a tomato.
Are you turning gamma?
Don't fucking raise little man's kids.
Great company. Thank you for having
Well,
me.
we're very happy that
Thank you
you
for
came
coming.
here.
Yes.
Yeah, man, we'll see you guys next week. Pretty sure we're going to do one next week, August 1st.
For sure.
Got a bunch of stuff coming up. Like I said, it's next week is immersion week, so I'm excited. All the guys from immersion are here, and my whole team is here. So we're going to probably have some of the guys on my sales team and some of the guys, some of the execs in my company come be on Access Vegas next week. So I'm pretty excited to see that. Anything else going on?
Oh, no, I just want to give a big shout out to our production staff, because
if you guys,
they are
put a one in the chat if the audio was better this
audio,
week. Put a one in the chat if the audio was better.
We got new camera angles, and this is just the beginning. We're going to have more camera angles on the next show too. So
yes, beautiful.
Building.
And it's funny because the title was, what was the title? It's like, is porn ruining your sex life? We'll just make that quick. It is. There we go.
There we go.
That's all you need to know. Stop watching so much porn, and your sex life will improve. That one's free. You're welcome. And we'll see you motherfuckers next week.
All right, there you go. Bye.